propagandist Joseph Goebbels. Werbel's Facebook comments were reported by the conservative website The Daily Caller and caught the ire of Donald Trump supporters and members of the Republican Party of Colorado. Daniel Cole, executive director of the El Paso County Republican Party, called for Werbel to be replaced at the ACLU. Werbel said the comments were not meant to be taken seriously. The ACLU said in a statement on Friday that it had accepted Werbel's resignation and did not condone the sentiments. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following reports of a newly posted job listing at area marketing firm Swenson Digital, The Onion spoke to a few of the 1,400 applicants who claim they are, quote, absolutely perfect for this position.
When I first saw this opening, I knew it was right for me. I've got tons of experience. I've got all the skills they're looking for.
If you look at my resume, I've got everything they're looking for. I mean, I've held similar jobs like this in the past. I'm extremely driven. I really think this is going to work out.
I've got a BA in marketing, which the posting said was recommended, so I think that'll bode really well for me. I've had plenty of team experience, and I think that would stand out. Not to mention the fact that I'm great with
web design and HTML, and pretty proficient with Excel and PowerPoint. Also, I think the culture is
very me, you know? I think I'd fit in well with the other employees. I also think I had a great
resume and cover letter. I think as soon as they interview me, they'll see I'm the perfect candidate.
As of this video's release, Swenson Digital had extended a job offer to an applicant who happens to be a friend of the boss's son.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition. You're invited here to join us on the radio waves. We'll give you our toll-free number and also the Skype username here in moments. With you in the studio tonight, Ian here.
And Mark.
Mark, you've invited a special guest on the show tonight.
Yeah, it's Jack Spirko, the host of the wildly successful survival podcast at the Podcast.com, aptly named website, thesurvivalpodcast.com. And, I just want to have Jack on again. We've had him on in the past, and he was a really popular guest. And I think he brings sort of a different flavor to, some of the things we don't talk about as much that many of the people...
Because we don't know anything about it. This guy's an expert.
That's why. Yeah, that's exactly why. Jack, you there?
I am here.
So... why do you think it is that the survival podcast is just so successful? Why do people want to talk about this subject?
I think there's an inherent piece of human existence where people kind of realize, like, once everything's not okay, I need to do something about it. And I think a lot of our success is people that come to the show for the answer to the question, well, what do I do? Honestly, I get a lot of people that are, right on the edge, like ready to jump almost, because they're freaked out by something. And that's what we get, is a lot of new people coming in that have this like epiphany, like, oh, everything's not super, and they're too far out there. And our biggest thing is trying to pull them back in. And I think that's really the show's success, that we focused on concrete things that people can actually do that actually make sense. And that makes sense, if everything kind of goes upside down, it's a good thing that you've done them. If there's an ice storm, it's a good thing that you've done them. If there's a tornado, it's a good thing that you've done them. But if everything pretty much works itself out okay for you, you end up in your little happy bubble, it's still good steps to take in your life, because you're building individual liberty, self-reliance, and self-sufficiency. And that, I think, is a universal message for people once they realize that's what they're looking for anyway.
Do you have that list of 5 or 10 things that that people should do, that everybody should do?
Yeah, I wish it was just 5 or 10 things. But I think the biggest thing is the most important first thing is to focus on the things that actually can go wrong in your life at kind of the individual and family level. And that's your starting point with preparedness, where most people that come to preparedness, unless they come from a family that, that's kind of got it ingrained into their souls, so to speak, they come with this, there's going to be an apocalypse, the zombies are going to rise, there's going to be a financial collapse, whatever. And I'm not saying any of those things other than the zombie thing can't actually happen. What I'm saying is that if we're in a car together and we're in, Jacksonville, Florida, and we're going to go to Maine, we're going to pass through Georgia and the Carolinas and Virginia to get there, unless we go a really stupid around the way. So it makes sense to kind of take that same path in your preparedness. So what I kind of did was broke it down instead of like the things you should do. Like, how do we think about it from a standpoint of impact scale and in probability? And we start out with the probability being the less people affected by an individual disaster, the more likely it is to happen to you. So losing your job, having a spouse come down with a terminal illness, having a spouse killed, having a spouse end up in the hospital, having a storm that tears the roof off of your house, your neighbor's house, and the guy down the street's house, but not the whole world. So let's get ready for that. And then let's say from there, let's kind of step out a little bit more, and we look at more things like localized riots and things like that to get a little bit bigger. And if we take that approach and we start thinking about our 6 survival needs: food, water, shelter, energy, security, and health and sanitation. If we just think about, well, on each of these levels, how are those things adversely effective, and kind of step into it that way, it's a lot more of a logical progression. Because what I tried to do right away, guys, was stay away from do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, because that's my plan. And if I tell you what to do, you'll follow it right up until you disagree with it. Or if I can give you a blueprint to analyze your own life and then say, I'm going to write my own plan, well, you'll follow your plan. It's yours. And you know, I've been doing that now for 8 years, and it probably doesn't make the best answer to a radio show like yours, but
it sounds like the best answer.
You know, I mean, when it comes to the standpoint of actually getting it done, people will do what they see a benefit in now. Like, you know, everybody knows we should diet, you know, eat a good diet and exercise. But if you went one day without eating well and exercising and fell over dead, well, everybody would do it. But because it takes a long time for that poor decision to catch up with us and actually do harm to our bodies, and we can get away with it, we kind of stray away from there. So there is this immediate gratification need in people. So if you can actually show them, like, okay, growing a garden actually does all these wonderful things for you now, but yet it also provides self-reliance. Or having a bug out bag is great. And if you have to leave, or, I mean, I teach the bug out bag thing for, well, what if your kid comes down with an illness and they're in the hospital and you're sleeping on the floor next to him in the bed and you don't want to go home? I mean, that's how basic that can be. Yet it can also be for major disasters. But since, like, one of the things we keep in a bug out kit is something as simple as insect repellent. If you're at, you know, a friend's barbecue and everybody's getting tore up by mosquitoes and he doesn't have insect repellent, go out to the car and get yours.
Yeah, I feel really smart when there's certain circumstances like that happens. You know, I'm able to pull a tool out of the vehicle or even out of my pocket. I really like that feeling. It's just to be the one that has, oh yeah, I've got that thing that we need right now. It makes me feel really good, and I think that that's that resonates deeply with your audience, I suspect.
I think it resonates deeply with most people because I think we all kind of have a little bit of hero complex. We want to be the person that comes to the rescue or what have you, but we also don't like feeling exposed, right? So if you look at the average person, they kind of go through life with a la-di-da attitude, but the very first time they actually feel threatened, and this is a big reason why people run to the government, right? Because I don't know what else to do about it, so I'm going to go ask Big Brother to fix it for me. And you see how quickly people react in fear. Where if you start teaching people to actually be responsible for their own lives, to be able to handle situations that come up, then when something goes wrong, the first question they ask isn't, who's going to fix this for me, but how do I fix this for myself? How do I get myself out of this exposed position? And I just think that if we get more people doing that, maybe we'd have less people running to the government. You know,
do you find a lot of your audience is starting at square one in sort of knowing how to do things, or are you attracting people that have that have some facility with the basics, right? You know, fire starting and stuff like that.
I think we're all over the map, man. I think we have people that come to the show that find it brand new and walk in and they have no idea. They just no clue whatsoever. We have people that come in and go, oh, this is what I've been doing my whole life. And they had no idea there was a name for it. We have people that frankly are more advanced than me in some of the things that we do. But what I've really found is we have a lot of people that specialize in a certain area. We have a lot of people that are really amazing at growing and producing food, but maybe they're weak in, you know, basic preparedness for a power outage. Or we have people that live off grid, so they've got a lot of it down just because they have to, but yet maybe they don't have the mental component down to the point where they still don't understand how they're being controlled and manipulated by the system, because we're very holistic with what we do. The name Survival Podcast would lead people to believe it's all about preparedness. when it's really more about how do we survive in this modern world. Everything from how we deal with investments, how we start a business. I mean, it's that dynamic. And that's why it's hard for me to condense it down into, 30-second sound bites.
What do you think about shows like Preppers and that sort of thing? I mean,
What is that, a TV show?
Yeah, it's a reality
Doomsday
TV
Preppers.
show. Yeah, is it Doomsday Preppers? I'm sorry.
Doomsday Preppers, yeah. I'm not a fan of them, and I'll tell you a big part of why is that when it first came out, I'm like, the people they have on this are not our people. This is insanity. And by the time they got into the second season and we knew that they were going to be around, there were a lot of people that I knew that were trying to create their own little business or something, were willing to compromise a little bit for their 15 minutes of fame, because you do reach millions of people. And when I saw those people on the show, and I actually knew them and what they did, Christopher Nidges would be an example of one, and the way they were portrayed, I went, that's not them. That's not how these people think. This is as non-reality TV as it gets. And so I think the negative is it paints a very inaccurate, not just poor, but inaccurate image as to who we are as preppers in this country or around the world, really. But the other part of it is I do think there is some benefit to it, because I have gotten a lot of new listeners that they look at this and at least it makes them aware of, I should be doing something. And they go down a quest, well, I don't want to do this. What can I do? And
Jack
so
Spirko is with us. Jack, stand by. If you got a little bit more time, we'll bring you back here. Do you?
No problem.
All right, Jack Spirko from the survivalpodcast.com. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you become a slave to big tobacco? Have they taken away your money, your health, and even your freedom, forcing you to stand out in the cold this winter? There's an alternative. With the help of Jimmy the Juice Man and GiantVapes.com, for less than the cost of a carton of cigarettes, you can make the switch to electronic cigarettes and take back your freedom. At GiantVapes.com, you'll find a selection of high-quality, reasonably priced electronic cigarette hardware kits to get you started, and a selection of delicious, premium, flavored liquid refills from the award-winning Jimmy the Juice Man brand. These aren't the junk you find at your local gas station. Use the coupon code FTL10 for 10% off your first order of hardware and Jimmy the Juice Man brand liquid at GiantVapes.com, where you will always get free guaranteed same-day shipping. Break free of the chains of sin taxes and big tobacco. Free same-day shipping and 10% off from GiantVapes.com. Giant, VAPES.com with coupon code FTL10.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. Join us here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Maybe you have a question for Jack Spirko. He is the host of the Survival Podcast, and he's with us here. TheSurvivalPodcast.com is his website. It's Ian and Mark in the studio with you here. And Jack, thanks for sticking with us. Mark, were you in the middle of a question for Jack?
I was just asking him what he thought about specifically the Doomsday Preppers show. And
oh yeah. Yeah, and you were saying that it wasn't the people. It
was an obvious layup. I mean, Doomsday Prepper paints people who are, tries to find the craziest folks out there that are worried about the nuttiest things, and then paint them as though those are preppers and people.
You never know when the aliens are going to invade.
Right, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I thought it was an insulting show to begin with, and I just wanted to see what where Jack took it, and he took it like a gentleman. And
Jack,
I don't get accused of doing that very often, but yeah, I mean, just to wrap that up, it is that the big thing that I learned from talking to people that were on the show is, they'll say, well, what are you preparing for? And the person will say, basically what we all prepare for, to deal without systems of support. And they'll go, no, you're preparing for coronal mass ejection. So they're
what
actually
is that?
A coronal mass ejection, right? So,
okay.
Or you're preparing for a pandemic. So these people are actually told what they're preparing for because they want to feature all these different doomsday disasters. So most preppers don't prep for an event. I'm not prepping for World War III. I'm not prepping for a pandemic. I'm prepping for anything that takes away systems of support.
Yeah, actually, I have the coronal mass ejection that you had just referred to. I had a friend who was sort of worried that...
What is that, the sun?
The sun is going to, blast
explode?
out some X-rays that are going to fry the electrical systems that we have. Basically, anything that's not in a Faraday cage right now will be fried and completely unusable from the grid on down. And that would change our lives dramatically. The suggestion is that it happened in the 1880s, as recently as the 1880s or something like that, and there just wasn't a lot of electronics in existence at the time. So, we were able to recover from that, but now we wouldn't be able to recover from it. Have you heard that same story, Jack?
Yeah, and it's true, but it's one of those things. So in I think it was 1888 or 1887, right around that time, there was a major CME that hit us just perfectly. And it actually set some of the we had the telegraph going by then. Some of the telegraph lines, actually, the insulation on them caught on fire and burned to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like nothing happened. But our systems today are not as robust as they could be.
Yeah.
But they're a heck of a lot more robust than most of the people that want to sell you a book about this stuff want you to believe that they are. We do understand grounding systems today and things like that. And it's not that it can't happen, it's that the odds are remarkably low compared to the odds of a lot of other things that you maybe should be a lot more concerned about.
And you were talking about a bug out bag, and this is that the sort of thing that you carry along in a vehicle at all times, or is this the kind of thing you keep at home?
A bug out bag does you no good if you can't get to it. So My rules with a bug out bag is generally it lives in my vehicle, because if my vehicle's somewhere, I'm there. When I used to work in an office, I kind of had a modular approach where I had kind of a bug out bag totality and a bug out bag light. So I brought a smaller component of it into my office space. It was never necessary, but it was just nice to know that it was there. But I didn't want to bring, like, let's say, a full kit in and out of the office every day. Kind of gets people asking you questions or something, but generally it's like a small pack or something. Oh, that's just lunch or whatever. The only time we ever had any issues with that office was we had bomb threats, and the response that I and the CO had of it was to go down to the martini bar and drink martinis for the rest of the day. So
you're prepared.
You don't always have to freak out during a disaster. If there's a bomb threat in your building, just leave. Yeah. And it what amazed us is, so we're standing there and we're looking, and there's like a big 9-story glass building, and all the people that have been asked to evacuate are like 15 feet away from the building, staring at it. Right. So if a bomb goes off, it's literally going to be shards of glass going everywhere. Yeah. So we went 5 miles away and drank martinis and figured we were safe there.
One of the things about bug out bags that just sort of amazes me is in this culture that we have, where so many people take so much medication, they're not ready. Now, the system isn't sort of prepared for you to have your medications ready either. They want you to have a prescription for the next 30 days and that kind of thing. And then, of course, medications expire. But I mean, a lot of people don't seem prepared when it comes around their medications. Do you guys touch on that very much?
A lot. And like one of the big tips we try to give people is, if you're on a maintenance medication that you have to take regularly, generally your renewal date is quite a bit before the time you'll actually run out. And if you always renew your prescription on that earliest date possible, it doesn't take you very long to build up 30, 40, 60 days worth of additional medication. And I definitely advise people to do that. And I also say that, like, one of the hardest things to get prescribed now, because they've tightened up on it, is pain medication. And a lot of times people will have an injury or something where they don't really need it, but the doctor's willing to prescribe it. I don't want to advise anybody to break the law or anything, but if they prescribe it, it's yours. And don't think it's going to go bad in a year. If it's, put away in a bottle in your refrigerator, where, the life expectancy on these medications is greater than 10 years. The military actually did studies on it because they were throwing away so much of it. And the only thing that actually happens to most medications over time isn't that they're like food, right? They're not going to turn into something you're going to eat it and you're going to die. The efficacy goes down.
Right.
So if you have an opportunity to obtain something through prescription that might be very useful to you at a point where you can't get it, even if you don't really need it, I kind of say go ahead and let the doctor do his job and write the prescription, and maybe it just doesn't get used for now. Because, imagine in the middle of an ice storm, you go outside, you fall, you wrench your back, you're in just incapacitating pain. No one can go anywhere. No one can, get anything. Having something that could alleviate that pain other than, alcohol where you're bombed out of your mind might be a good idea. And we also talk about things like the antibiotics that they sell at the store for the fish. Yeah, I'm not saying that every time you get a sniffles, you should go take those, but it might be a good idea to have some things, like fish mocks, etc., in storage long-term, because they're the exact same medications. And that's
an interesting little bit there. I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah, I have what's called an expert council. So I have this group of 13 people that answer questions that I can't answer on my show, once a week. And one is he's retired now, but he was a practicing physician for I think 30 years. And he did deep research into this. And his when he finally looked at it, he's like, if I look at the pills, they're identical. And it makes perfect sense, because what do you think they're going to do? Set up, fish penicillin factories? Or just, you know what I mean? So that's like another thing. And to this day, the guy that actually, there's a guy that sells the fish mocks and the other fish antibiotics. And every time he meets this doctor, he just thanks him so much. He's like, I'm selling more of this than I've ever sold in my life.
Hey, Jack, your website is thesurvivalpodcast.com. Really great. Always in good info. Appreciate you coming on Free Talk Live here with us tonight.
Hey, no problem, guys.
Thanks, man. And it's almost an everyday podcast, by the way. It's thesurvivalpodcast.com. Thanks again, Jack Spirko. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. There's an Uber lawsuit that is expanding in a way that may not be very good for Uber. Also, people are already lining up for Star Wars, the new movie that's going to be coming out this week. Is that happening in your city yet? It's Free Talk Live.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Why are you playing a slot machine sound for an online poker site?
Do you have a poker sound effect? Because we have a new advertiser, swcpoker.eu.
Brought to you by the same guys that did seals with clubs.
Now they're called swcpoker.eu. It's Bitcoin Poker 2.0. They have lots of new games, including Chinese poker. The Krill leaderboard is active now. It's Bitcoin Poker from the brand you trust, swcpoker.eu.
Get on over to swcpoker.eu and start playing now.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a longtime supporter of antiwar.com. This past November, Roberts & Roberts donated all the profits of their precious metal sales from Armistice Day and Bitcoin Black Friday to antiwar.com. Well, that wasn't enough, and they're doing it again. From now until December 23rd, use coupon code PEACEONEARTH, all one word, and every dollar over the wholesale cost from all products from that purchase will go to antiwar.com. Randolph Bourne said, "War is the health of the state," and Roberts & Roberts believes that banks are its sustenance. Banks drive war. Why use their money? By investing in gold, silver, and Bitcoin, you are exiting the corrupt system that enables war. Use coupon code PEACEONEARTH when you shop online at rrbi.co now through December 23rd and help support antiwar.com and the cause of peace this holiday season. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Join us here toll free. It is the live Sunday edition. The toll free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We also have Skype. You can Skype into the show here at username SaveItPurse.com. You want to save 20% on Amazon? You know Amazon. They've already got great prices, huge selection. Well, what if the prices were 20% lower? Here's how you do it. You go to SaveItPurse.com. SaveATPurse.com. Get started there. Sign up for an account. When you do it through SaveItPurse.com, Free Talk Live gets a very small portion of your future purchases through SaveItPurse.com. That's SaveATPurse.com. The trick is you've got to have Bitcoin in order to get huge discounts. 20% is easy to get. 30% sometimes is pretty easy. 40% you get a little bit more difficult. You get to select what discount you want. Now, the higher the discount, the longer it might take to fulfill your order. So go to SaveItPurse.com and make sure you get some Bitcoin, although you can go to SaveItPurse.com even if you don't have the Bitcoin yet, but eventually you'll need it to get big savings from Amazon. It's Ian and Mark in the studio tonight. Mark, you're kind of a Star Wars fan, aren't you?
I like Star Wars. I hesitate.
You have a Star Wars video game.
I do, and I mean, I've seen them all, and I'm fond of certain characters. And when I was a kid, I had all of the Star Wars and the Empire Strikes Back figures. So I think that I'm a fan, but there are certainly people who are more fanatical than I am.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
There's always someone more fanatical than you are.
Yeah, and it doesn't make me feel bad. So I don't know if I'm in the case of I'd call myself a fan in the sense that like I would be a fan of anything else in the way that I like Star Wars. However, when you use the term Star Wars fan, then you've kind of stepped up the game a little bit. There's some people are so fanatical.
Oh yeah. So I saw a story over at GameZone.com. Tatiana Morris reporting. This was on December 9th. So 4 days ago was when this was written, and it was already starting, meaning the lines outside of theaters, specifically in Hollywood, because apparently there's a special opening this week. I guess that the movie's going to open nationwide on Thursday, I believe. But the Hollywood version, or the premiere, if you will, is going to be happening on Monday, if I'm correct about that. Anyway, so this was 4 days ago this was written, so Thursday or Friday. The Force Awakens will be officially released in theaters in just over a week, but people are already lining up for it. The fact that fans are already lining up shouldn't be a surprise. The pre-sale tickets for The Force Awakens sold more tickets on the first day of sales than the previous record holder by 8 times.
Eesh.
They sold 8 times as many tickets on the first day of pre-sales than the previous record holder. So as of Thursday, over 100 people had already set up camp outside of the Chinese theater in Los Angeles, saying that they are lining up for the new Star Wars movie, said one of the Australian women at the front of the line. She said, "Yes, we have a very long time to wait, and no, we're not crazy." And then there's a much more detailed piece from theguardian.com about some of the characters outside of Grumman's Chinese theater. Star Wars is a beloved franchise, but the buzz surrounding the impending release of the 7th installment, The Force Awakens, is almost tangible in Los Angeles, where the long-awaited premiere will take place this week. Ever since the first Star Wars film began its journey in 1977 at the Chinese theater on Hollywood Boulevard, it's had a special relationship with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Posters for the movie are plastered all about town, with 4 alone on the boulevard. The most glamorous premiere of the cinematic year is set to take place on Monday, while the general release is Thursday. Adding to the sense of a very big event are camping fans, the dedicated group who have called their efforts The Line Awakens, as in the line waiting to get into the theater. Currently has more than 130 people participating, with more likely to join in the coming days. This story was published yesterday at The Guardian. The ordeal was planned by LiningUp.net, a motley group of Star Wars fanatics who staged previously successful lines for the franchise's prequels at the same venue. Campers will be granted one of the many tickets reserved by the small outfit for the first general release showing of The Force Awakens after spending at least 24 hours in the line. Money raised goes to Starlight Children's Foundation, reportedly one of the first charities that Mark Hamill contributed to when Star Wars made him a household name. So there's a lot of backstory going into people just lining up outside of the movie theater.
Apparently
it's a charitable camping event Then going on here, let's see, there's an elaborate franchise-themed wedding. Australian Caroline Ritter, who works in the mining industry, is among the flock of die-hard campers. She's been outside the cavernous cinema in the heart of Hollywood since the 5th of December, well ahead of the film's first screening there on Thursday. Ritter flew in with her fiancé, Andrew Porters, to join the line. They arrived a few days early to enjoy the Star Wars rides at Disneyland before making their way to the cinema. She said the trip had been in the works for 18 months, ever since the release date was announced.
Wow.
So that's pretty serious fandom right there.
Yeah, it is. And I'm glad, I'm not going to make fun or anything like that. They've got something they're passionate about, and that's awesome.
I just hope the movie lives up to their expectations.
I think it will. We've seen the trailers on this.
There's some high expectations though for this movie.
There are some high expectations.
Normally when expectations are high, it's hard to meet them.
Agreed. There are also people that are just constitutionally predisposed to dislike the new thing that comes out. Like, for instance, Matrix. That movie was epic, groundbreaking, and all the things it was. The Matrix 2 and 3, so many people just hated them.
Mm-hmm.
And admittedly, they weren't Matrix, but how could they be Matrix? They were the sequels to Matrix, and they attempted to take the story further. If they didn't take it in a direction you liked, well, that's fine. There's always the first movie to go back and enjoy.
Movie.
Right. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm likely to enjoy this movie. With all the Marvel movies that have come out, even with the Fantastic Four that recently came out, they put a black guy in for Johnny Storm. I'm fine. I'm like, great. This will be interesting. We can change up the character a little bit. It'll be a lot of fun. No problem. Until recently, and I know what this feels like. Well, they just trotted out Black Panther. Now, Black Panther's always been one of my favorite characters in the Marvel comics, and they've got this young kid playing the king of Wakanda, and if you were in the room, my wife couldn't believe what she was hearing. I'm like, no, this is not acceptable.
Huh?
Yeah, just not acceptable for me. I was ready to accept Will Smith as Captain America. If that shows my level
He's
of...
not Captain America, though, right?
He's not, but somebody trotted him out as Captain America, and I thought that's who they were going to make Captain America. I was ready to do Captain America as Will Smith. I'm fine with it, but they cast this guy who's a decade too young for Black Panther, and the wheels come off for me, right?
So you're not going to see it.
I'm going to see it. Everybody's got their line in the sand, and apparently mine has to do with the age of T'Challa.
So we'll talk more about the people waiting in line outside of the Chinese theater in Los Angeles, in the Hollywood area. You're welcome to share your thoughts. Has the line started where you are yet? So again,
how could it?
This was a week in advance, Mark, that they started lining up outside of the Hollywood theater.
It's Hollywood, and they're doing it.
You don't think people around the rest of the country are as fanatical as the people in Hollywood? You better believe they are. This movie is going to have... look, if it hasn't started today, it'll start in the next couple days.
You can buy tickets in advance.
But look, Mark, that is not the fun, right? Like, the fun is to be in the line for these folks, okay? Because I can understand this to some extent.
Why don't we line up for other movies?
Some people do. There have been some other movies. I can't think of the last one that happened with.
Let's line up next weekend for some movie that nobody would ever line up for. Just find some some movie that's out there. The Zombies Come to Christmas, that kind of thing, and just line up for it. For like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
get a tent.
I wonder what the legality of that is.
I don't know.
In some places,
I'm pretty sure they'll let you camp out if you want to badly enough.
I guess it would depend on what the property owner had to say, right? Toll-free number is 855.
You figure out where you're going to go to the bathroom, and then, you can camp out.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Has the line for Star Wars begun where you live? This is Free Talk Live, and are you just really jazzed about this? It's Free Talk Live Sunday show.
I was coming out of the hardware store when I saw him. An old man, late 70s, hunched over in the freezing rain, no hat on his head, limping across that slippery parking lot and pushing a row of shopping carts toward the cart corral. It's heartbreaking. Millions of hardworking Americans simply don't have enough money to retire, so they just keep working and working and working until it's too late. Hi, I'm Chad Stubbs, President and CEO of Power Trader, and I believe that's just plain wrong. That's why I'm now distributing to the public absolutely free copies of Power Trader's game-changing book on how regular folks can make the money they need to retire fast. For your free copy, call 1-800-771-6706. Don't let the lack of money rob you of your retirement. Call now for details and get your free copy of this book before it's too late. 1-800-771-6706. But hurry while supplies last. 1-800-771-6706. 1-800-771-6706.
Did you know that home break-ins increase more than 100% during the holidays? It takes just 10 seconds for an intruder to kick in your door, but police response to a home alarm system is more than 20 minutes, and intruders are in and out of your home in 5 minutes. Thieves know that you're not home and have presents inside just waiting to be taken. And if you are home, how safe will you feel with an intruder lurking inside with your family? That's why police across the country are recommending you use door armor. Proven to withstand the force of a battering ram, door armor keeps intruders out. It's easy to install and barely visible, and your door armor is guaranteed for life. Go to InvasionStopper.com for a very special buy one, get one at half off deal. These savings are for a limited time and only available to GCN listeners. Protect your valuables and loved ones this holiday season. Go to InvasionStopper.com now. That's InvasionStopper.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. Raccoon leaders call for the loosening of garbage can lids. This is Doyle Redland reporting. In a 4 a.m. speech at the group's annual Washington, D.C. convention this morning, North American Raccoon Federation President Bristletail called upon homeowners to loosen the lids of their garbage cans, providing the ring-tailed mammals with greater access to discarded food scraps during nocturnal scavenging.
Every time you seal a standard 30-gallon garbage can, as many as 6 raccoons are forced to go without their necessary daily supply of congealed baked beans, rancid cottage cheese chunks, and moldy cantaloupe rinds.
The 26-pound varmint closed his speech with a stern warning that without raccoons, possums could take over the world. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is down $5 at $1,067 per ounce. Silver is 26 cents lower at $13.91 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $432 US. We still have plenty of 2015 US Mint silver and gold Eagle coins available at these low prices. Give Robertson Roberts a call today at 800-874-9760 or shop online at rrbi.co.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Live Sunday edition. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You may join us via Skype as well. Skype username is lrn.fm. And there's a new book on the scene, on the Liberty scene, by David Hathaway. It's Immigration, Individual versus National Borders. And in the book, David Hathaway takes apart those arguments that have been proffered by supporters of Austrian economists like Hoppe and Rothbard, which is their position against open borders that a surprising amount of so-called libertarians will adopt. Hathaway destroys those arguments while still supporting the position that an individual property owner has the absolute right to exclude or invite anyone onto their property. You can get your copy of Immigration, Individual versus National Borders through Amazon, and the best way to go to Amazon is through shop.freetalklive.com. You enter through the links you'll find there. You can get the book, and Free Talk Live will get a cut of the sale. So start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com and look up David Hathaway's new book, Immigration, Individual versus National Borders. So our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. The Star Wars fanatics are already lining up out in Hollywood. What about where you live? There's people that have been camping out since at least December 5th, so about a week ago already.
So what do you say the value to camping out is when you can get your ticket ahead of time?
To explain that. Right, so you can order tickets in advance, which is obviously the smart thing to do. It's going to save you a little bit of time. It's going to guarantee that you'll actually have a seat when you get to the theater, because you don't want to travel to the theater and then wait in a line only to find out that the event is sold out. So obviously buying in advance makes sense. But, you still want to get a good seat in the theater. You don't want to be the person sitting up front. So you do want to make sure that you're there early enough to get in. But in a fanatic movie like this, there's going to be a bunch of crazies there that are going to definitely get there before you, unless you're crazier than they are. And so part of the fun, besides just the logistics of getting the seat that you want, it's sort of like, going to the Black Friday sales. There's some camaraderie there, where you're in line with people that you don't know for the most part. I mean, you're probably there with your small group of friends, but there's also other people there that you've yet to meet. And so, you get to meet new people who share a similar interest as you do. There's that aspect of it. And then there's just something that is fun about waiting in a line with a bunch of other people that share that similar interest. I can relate to some extent, having been in the line going into what was called Livestock back in the day in Tampa, Florida. The rock station there would put on a I don't know if it was that muddy really, but they would put on a concert over the entire weekend, a rock concert, and plenty of people would go out there and do various different drugs and have a good old time. And lots of drinking. And
it was a concert.
But the fun part actually began in the line. So they wouldn't open up the gates until a certain time, and people would line up for miles because everybody's bringing their RVs in, and carloads full of people, and people they're not waiting till they get inside the gates to start the party. The party started in the line, so you got people opening up beers on the side of the road, and people smoking pot with each other. They don't even know anybody. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Let's go to Nick. He's in South Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live, listening to WTMA in Charleston.
Hello.
Hey there, Nick. Go ahead, sir.
Well, you remember how wildly successful the Bourne Identity movies were.
Yeah.
And I think that's in large part to the casting of Matt Damon. And the Hollywood producers almost had another gold mine like that in the Jack Reacher movie.
I'm not familiar with that.
That's Tom Cruise.
Jack Reacher is a character, a fictional character written by Lee Child, and he's in his books. He's an old ex-Army MP, this huge guy, like 6 foot. He's almost like a comic book character, but they're very well written books. But the problem was that the Hollywood producers chose Tom Cruise to play Jack Reacher, and they sure did miss the boat on that one.
What was this movie called?
Gold mine.
Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was. I watched the movie. Great. Now I'd never read the books, so I watched the movie, and I thought Tom Cruise did a pretty good job.
Is this a new movie?
It's not that old.
Last 5 years or something?
Generally, when you watch a Tom Cruise movie, you feel like you're watching Tom Cruise act in a movie. It's got that kind of thing.
Well, isn't it that way for a lot of actors? I mean, there's Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I think he's a fine. I think he did a pretty good job.
I think too many people had read the books because they're bestsellers and they're really good books. And so when that movie came out, I think it went straight to video.
Wow.
I mean, it hit the theaters for about a week and just went straight to video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the most tuned in.
Gold mine. They could have had a gold mine, just like the Bourne series. They could have had another one.
It's neat to see books turning into movies that are actually successful. I mean, because if you look at like the Stephen King movies, a lot of those kind of bombed. They were made for TV, and they're not really worth talking about. But these days, they're actually making some decent book to movies. Like, of course, The Hunger Games is probably the most successful in recent years. Also, Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter's usually successful
as well. Nick, thanks for your call tonight. Appreciate it. Jack Reacher, was it? R-E-A-C-H, Reacher? Toll-free number is 855. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Angry in New York. I'm guessing this is Dave in New York calling. You're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, it is.
What are you angry about tonight? And more importantly, when are you not angry, Dave? Has there been a time in the last, adult years of your life that you have been happy in New York?
My brother came into my window Saturday morning, and he knocked on my window wearing some kind of a ski mask or whatever.
Now, don't you live on the second floor? Or no, your first floor.
And listen to me, Ian. I am speaking to you. I am getting a restraining order.
He was wearing a ski mask and knocked on your window.
Some kind of mask it looks kind of a mask with a mustache on it and down by the chin. I don't know what kind of a mask it was.
Okay.
He was wearing like a hoodie and whatever. I don't know what kind of mask it was.
So he's playing a prank on you?
I am getting a restraining order against him.
Yeah.
Because he keeps on messing with me. He keeps talking smack about me on Craigslist rants and raves. I'm going
Your brother?
I'm getting a restraining order against Matt. That is his name.
Is that your brother?
Yes.
And this is the brother as in your other parents' other child, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so what was he doing? He was just trying to prank you? Was that the idea?
He came to where I live unannounced, and he had like a camera phone or whatever, taking pictures, whatever, where I live, whatever, or something. And he knocked on my window several times. I didn't answer because I didn't know who it was. But then he went on Craigslist rants and raves, saying a bunch of this and that, whatever. But I am getting a restraining order against him. I want him to stay 1,000 feet away from me, 1,000 feet away from where I live, and 1,000 feet away from my girlfriend. All right. I'm getting a restraining
What
order
about a lawyer? Do you have to have a lawyer for this?
No, you generally don't.
I'm getting a restraining order against my brother, Matt.
What steps have you taken to get this restraining order at this time?
That's a good question. Okay, you're repeating yourself, Dave. We know you do that a lot, but hang on.
What steps have you taken to get this restraining order up to this point?
Tomorrow morning, I'm getting a restraining order.
Nothing. All you've done is called Free Talk Live.
What are you going to do? You're going to go to court, and you've not filed anything yet. Is that right?
I haven't done anything yet, but I'm going to go because this happened yesterday morning, and I'm going to do. And since today is Sunday, I'm going to go and get one.
Now, are you going to be able to get an ex parte order with just those allegations? Mark, do you know anything about restraining orders?
Restraining order is a a violation, but a restriction on people's constitutional rights. It has to be a pretty big deal, and I'm kind of thinking a judge is going to say,
I am getting one against him.
Dave,
well, you don't have a constitutional right to go pound on somebody's window.
No, you don't. But if I was the judge, I'd be like, I'm going to need to see a pattern here. This is your brother, and he had on a hat with a little fake beard on it, and he got your reaction, and maybe he's not threatening your well-being, he just made you feel bad.
Yeah, what is your pitch to this judge? I mean, if you get a hearing tomorrow morning, what are you going to say? What is your reason for this? Just because he wore a mask and knocked on your window?
I want him to stay away from me.
We know what you want, but you've got to give reasons why he shouldn't be able to come there.
Ian and Mark, I'm going to get a restraining order against my brother.
Okay, you've repeated yourself. I'm going to give you one more chance.
If you don't do this right, you're going to end your dumb butt up in jail, okay? If you go in front of this judge doing I'm going to repeat myself and be annoying
I would love to see
over and
that.
over again, you're going to be in jail. Here, let me repeat it for you again, Dave. You're going to be in jail, and you're going to be sitting there going, I don't want to be in jail because you're going to be in jail.
Mark, listen to me. I'm not going to repeat myself in front of him. I'm just going to ask him nicely to get a restraining order against my brother.
And the judge is going to then ask you, do you feel threatened? What evidence do you have that your life has been threatened?
I have a lot of evidence.
This would be a really entertaining. Dave, you're really good at recording video, so do your best to bring the video camera into the court tomorrow. Try not to get arrested for doing so, and then hopefully you'll post it on your YouTube channel because I want to see Dave in New York in a courtroom talking to a judge. Thanks for the call tonight. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
Dr. Ngozi Obi is an emerging American author of Nigerian descent who's published 2 novels with an inspirational message. A third is in the works. Her first novel, Love's Destiny, follows Naira, a somewhat naive young woman, in a gripping tale of love lost and found. Her second novel, When Dreams and Visions Collide, follows Fern and friends as they discover what it takes to realize a dream and the true meaning of unconditional love. Dr. Obi's books are available where books are sold and ladyofdestiny.com.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more. There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Cumberland, Rhode Island, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, December 13th, 2015. Silver is trading at $13.92 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,075 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $431. Antiwar.com reports the Iraqi Foreign Ministry on Friday was instructed to lodge a formal complaint against Turkey to the UN Security Council, citing a solid week since Turkish ground troops arrived in the Nineveh province and continue to refuse to leave. Turkey has insisted the troops are there to train Kurdish forces, and President Erdogan said a withdrawal was out of the question. The Iraqi government has previously sought help from NATO in convincing Turkey to leave, though unsuccessfully. Iraq's top religious leader, Grand Ayatollah Ali Sistani, has issued a statement urging the Iraqi government to do something, saying the government is obliged to show no tolerance to any violations of its sovereignty, and saying other nations should not use the pretext of fighting terrorism to send troops into Iraq. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider Abadi had been under growing pressure to stand up to other nations involved in the war against the Islamic State, particularly with previous U.S. deployments coming without any invitation from Iraqi officials. This sense that Abadi is being pushed around is only growing with Turkey's presence.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa is still waiting on emails belonging to the staffer who managed former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's private email server. Grassley sent a letter to Secretary of State John Kerry on Friday asking for the letters of Brian Pagliano. Grassley, who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee, said Pagliano's emails were the committee's highest priority request. Grassley wrote, "Given that the committee is unable to obtain his testimony at this time, I am seeking copies of his official State Department emails relevant to the committee's inquiry before proceeding to consider whether it might be appropriate to grant him immunity and compel him testimony." Grassley's letter says State Department officials could not find a backup of Pagliano's emails and instead are searching for emails of those who corresponded with Pagliano, of which there are a limited number. Earlier this week, Grassley asked FBI Director James Comey whether the FBI had Pagliano's computer. Comey did not comment due to the ongoing investigation. Pagliano had previously declined to testify, invoking his Fifth Amendment rights. Grassley's letter said the committee will not consider its request fulfilled until the State Department explains why there is no backup of Pagliano's emails. He also called for the department to provide expert witnesses to explain why the department did not keep any emails from Pagliano.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Noomery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports the American Civil Liberties Union of Colorado said on Friday that it had accepted the resignation of a co-chair who came under criticism for a Facebook post that said people who insist on voting for Donald Trump should be told they will be shot. Loring Werble, who served as a co-chair of the Colorado Springs chapter of the ACLU, also compared Trump, the current Republican presidential frontrunner, to Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels. Werble's Facebook comments were reported by the conservative website The Daily Caller and caught the ire of Donald Trump supporters and members of the Republican Party of Colorado. Daniel Cole, executive director of the El Paso County Republican Party, called for Werble to be replaced at the ACLU. Werble said the comments were not meant to be taken seriously. The ACLU said in a statement on Friday that it had accepted Werble's resignation and did not condone the sentiments. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
We're being attacked by news from all sides in tonight's News Blitz. Now we're homing in on Houston, Texas, where NASA announced today that the crew of the International Space Station has successfully completed their 13-year mission studying man's ability to constantly repair a large object in space. NASA officials hailed the remarkable feat of maintenance at a press conference this afternoon.
And throughout human history, man has gazed at the stars and dreamed of fixing something up there. People once thought the ultimate feat in human repair was a really big boat. Today, we've accomplished so much more.
This comes in the wake of NASA's previous success, finding out how many times an astronaut could hold something in his hand, then let it go, watch it float in front of his face for a bit, then catch it again. All right, dust yourself off. You have survived the News Blitz.
Tune in tomorrow morning to Today Now. We'll look back at Jim's week as a polygamist.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Have you ever lined up for a movie or some other thing that you've lined up for an extended period of time? I mean, I'm not just talking about a few hours, but I mean overnight. Have you ever done like an overnight camp out kind of thing in excitement for whatever it was that was going to be released at a certain time? That's happening in Hollywood right now. People are lined up and have been for several days in front of the Chinese theater expecting to be allowed in to see the new Star Wars movie. Special premiere on Monday, I believe, or Tuesday.
I talked to some friends about doing an overnight lining up for a movie. We never actually did it. But
what was that?
It was for Jackass, the movie.
Really?
Now, we knew that no
was
one
that
else...
in the 90s? When was that?
I think it was later than that.
You know,
it might have been Jackass 2 then.
Steve-O is still making ridiculous, dumb videos on YouTube.
I'm sure people are watching them, too.
Oh, I've actually subscribed to his channel.
So I just thought it would be funny. It would be, jackassery to stay overnight for the Jackass movie.
I definitely, if I were a movie theater owner, would not want the Jackass crowd camping out in front of my movie theater, because they're just going to be lighting things on fire all night long, and that could be really bad.
Well, I didn't think that there would be anything but the three of us, and we just talked about it over beers, and we thought it would be amusing, since we were going to go see the movie, to camp out overnight for it, and then call the newspaper and let them know that we were going to do it.
Yeah, that could be a real insurance nightmare, I think, for that one to happen. But the Star Wars fan likely fairly well behaved, and we'll talk more about who is camping out, what they're doing out in front of the theater, and is it happening where you live already? Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, or bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. Also on the way tonight, there's all kinds of interesting things that we could be discussing, including the latest on the Uber case out in California. And apparently it's not good news for Uber, but that's still to come. Let's go first to Nick. He's in Massachusetts. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Nick.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
I just want to say that this is the chickens coming home to roost for Dave in New York. For years, he's been on Craigslist, rants and raves in his own town, fighting with people and, telling them that they should get from behind their keyboards and come talk to him face to face and say their trash to his face. And finally, someone comes to his house, to the battered women's shelter where he lives, and now he's going to get a restraining order. Dave is a huge hypocrite. He's a coward, and he's online asking people to meet him. And then his idiot brother shows up wearing a anonymous mask. And his response is to call a radio show and say he's getting a restraining order against his useless brother. It's ridiculous. These two kids were spoiled as children, and now look at them. Neither of them have jobs. His brother, Matt Grady, has all these kids that he doesn't pay for. He beat a guy almost to death, allegedly. This old guy that he was in a secret gay affair with. And when it was
if he beats somebody almost to death, that sounds like a good reason to keep him away. I mean, maybe Dave's not wrong to get a restraining order against this guy.
But, Dave is on rants and raves telling people to come to his face, come say that crap to his face.
Well, that could, I see where you're coming from there. I mean, if that's the case, can you really get in front of a judge and say, yeah, I invited someone to come to my face, and then when they did, I wanted to get a restraining order against them? I don't know I don't know if that's going to fly.
What family talks on Craigslist to each other?
Dave is a wonderful guy. I love you, Dave.
Thanks, Nick, for your call tonight. I appreciate it.
Right.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So, yeah, we were discussing the folks that are standing out in front of the Chinese theater in Hollywood right now. There's actually a couple there who came all the way from Australia, and they planned the trip 18 months in advance. She said the trip started to be planned when they found out the release date of The Force Awakens. And boy, it would have been a disappointment had they moved the movie's release date. Sometimes that happens.
It does happen. So why would they go to this particular theater? Because they knew that it would have...
I guess it's an early premiere, right? So the actual nationwide release is Thursday evening, I believe. And this is going to be, I think, a Monday showing. So it's a special Hollywood premiere showing.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just one or if it's going to be an all-day thing, but they wanted to see it as soon as they possibly could. Although she does point out that technically the movie will premiere in Australia first, noting the time difference between Australia and Los Angeles. But the experience of lining up and the friendships we'll all make outweighs those few hours, she says.
Okay.
Just before The Force Awakens is screened, Ritter
Plus, if she had planned it ahead of time and you didn't know that Australia was going to be there ahead of time, then, you can sort of forgive somebody for going through with the plan that they'd already made and whatever things they'd already purchased for that plan.
Right. And so apparently she'll be getting married to her fiancé, Mr. Porters, outside of the historic theater in a ceremony orchestrated by the venue itself. For her big day, she says she'll don a classic white dress with handmade crystal X-Wing starfighters on it. She said that we just want to do something unique and fun and engage the fans.
Well, may the Force be with them.
Let's see. That's actually the president of Grauman's who said that. Also said that Ritter would be escorted down the aisle by Darth Vader himself. Officiating the ceremony will be a friend of the couple who goes by the name of Obi-Sean. A number of sponsors have come on board to help with the nuptials. Dunkin' Donuts will provide the campers with donuts on the morning of the wedding, while Baskin-Robbins...
That's what we had for a wedding cake. My wife and I
had...
It's
true. I was there. I saw
a bunch of glazed donuts in sort of a pyramid shape with a bride and groom stuck on top. It was awesome because
that's my kind of cake. It's cheap.
Well,
cheap.
And it's unique enough.
Yeah, it was memorable.
It
right?
was a memorable cake.
How many people remember the wedding cakes they've ever eaten?
Yeah.
I sure as hell wouldn't.
There's some really awesome cakes I've had at weddings, but
they all the same, white topped cake with the little bride and groom at the top. Right? Did you guys have the bride and groom thing at the top?
We did have the bride and groom thing at the top, but that was just because it was a pile of donuts. It showed people what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the whole thing for less than $1,000. We had more than 100 people at this wedding, and we did it for less than $1,000. Her parents did pay for the catering, which was awful. I wish I'd have been in charge of that. We'd have been better off with pizzas.
Baskin-Robbins has agreed to provide the happy couple with a Star Wars-themed wedding cake, and a local boutique hotel has pitched in to provide the newlyweds with a suite for the night of their wedding.
Wait, aren't they going to be staying out all night for this thing?
No, the wedding's going to happen right before the movie, so they're already camping out. They got there on the 5th, so they've been camping out for a solid...
They're going to get married, they're going to go watch the movie, and then they're going to go do it.
Presumably.
Okay,
that will be the order of operations. Hopefully they won't start doing it during the movie.
That would be completely inappropriate.
Yeah. A local boutique, let's see here.
What would make you think that?
In the era of reserved seating, when queuing is not actually necessary, the lengthening lines are a testament to the intensity of franchise fandom. The manager says, we've had reserved seating for a couple years, so people don't line up the way they used to. But Star Wars is a whole other animal. People are coming from all over the world. It's not about getting into the theater first.
So reserved seating means that you get a seat, not that you get the seat that you ordered, right?
I'm not clear on that. I don't know of any theaters that will actually give you a specific seat, but you know what? Actually, I did read about this, actually. There's a group of free staters that are going to see Star Wars on Christmas Eve. And they said, one of them did say that when you reserve the seat online, you can actually select the seat. So apparently some theaters do actually have numbered seats wherein you have a specifically assigned seat and you can pick seats near your friends and things like that. So that's kind of cool. So she says people are coming from all over the world. It's not about getting there first because they already have their ticket. It's about sharing the passion for the film with their comrades. Nathan Kluke, who's driven from Detroit, agreed. He says, we line up because we used to have to line up. It's become tradition. I don't know if it'll continue, but as long as there are people who like this, we'll do it. For Kluke, who sports long brown dreadlocks, this marked the 4th time lining up outside the theater. He joined the organizers of liningup.net for the previous 3 installments of Star Wars, starting with The Phantom Menace, which he admitted disliking. He said, I'm old school.
This hate for Phantom Menace, I just don't understand it. I recently watched it again. My
It's
son...
more of a kid's movie, isn't it?
Well, it is a movie about a kid.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can't tell me that Jar Jar's is he that much worse than the Ewoks?
I couldn't tell you.
The Ewoks you saw when you were young, so it was more acceptable and palatable to you.
Yeah.
But the Star Wars has had this strain of sort of, adorable, laughable
cutesy
creatures.
Yeah.
There's parts of Phantom Menace that there's somewhat transparent to me, but it was okay.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Was Jar Jar worse than the Ewoks? It's Free Talk Live.
Have you become a slave to big tobacco? Have they taken away your money, your health, and even your freedom, forcing you to stand out in the cold this winter? There's an alternative. With the help of Jimmy the Juice Man and GiantVapes.com, for less than the cost of a carton of cigarettes, you can make the switch to electronic cigarettes and take back your freedom. At GiantVapes.com, you'll find a selection of high-quality, reasonably priced electronic cigarette hardware kits to get you started, and a selection of delicious, premium, flavored liquid refills from the award-winning Jimmy the Juice Man brand. These aren't the junk you find at your local convenience store or gas station. Use coupon code FTL10 for 10% off your first order of hardware and Jimmy the Juice Man brand liquid at GiantVapes.com, where you'll always get free guaranteed same-day shipping. Break free of the chains of sin taxes and big tobacco. Free same-day shipping and 10% off from GiantVapes.com with coupon code FTL10. That's GiantVapes.com with coupon code FTL10.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I have an important message. Right now, the highest levels of government are struggling against an inevitable crisis, but they're about to lose control. When this happens, it will rip our country apart in ways you never imagined, from where we shop to the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. A few years ago, I warned that the housing prices would collapse. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash, and they did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves, but this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all. I've posted a free video at disappearingwealth.com. Maybe you'll disagree with my conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. You can watch the video for free right now by going to disappearingwealth.com. Again, that's disappearingwealth.com.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 85% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. If you're a regular reader of freekeene.com, you know there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Expectations are super high for the new Star Wars movie that is going to be opening up. I think it's probably a worldwide release. Generally, the other countries don't have to wait much anymore. Used to be that the U.S. would get the release, and then later on, other countries would get it. It seems like more and more these days, it's all simultaneous. Anyway, that's going to be big. No matter what happens this weekend, even if the movie's just a stinker, it's going to be a huge open, no doubt. People are going to want to see it for themselves, and seems like it's almost impossible for it to really be that bad because it's being directed, I believe, by J.J. Abrams, who also directed the Star Trek movie, which is kind of an unusual crossover, right? The same guy who directed Star Trek is directing Star Wars. That's a first, right? Has that ever happened previously? Have there been a...
I can't imagine why it would. I mean, George Lucas was the guy who did it before that, so no.
But I mean, like a major cast or major producer or something like that. I've been on both sides of the old Star Wars, Star Trek divide. Isn't there kind of a divide between some of the fandoms there?
I think that
like
there
one
is
side or the other.
I think there's a divide. It doesn't reach me, but if I had to pick a side, I'd say I'm Star Wars. I just like that better. But I've watched most of the old Star Treks and enjoyed them thoroughly.
So there's going to be a number of Free State Project participants who are going to be going on Christmas Eve, and they're already buying their tickets for that because, again, it's for at least a few solid weeks. I think you're going to need to buy your tickets in advance, at least in a lot of places, for this movie. If the early ticket sales are any indication, I mean, it's already sold on the first day of pre-sales more than 8 times as many tickets as the previous record holder for pre-sales.
It's a big deal.
So that's an indicator. In fact, there's a piece over at the Associated Press asking if this could be the biggest movie release ever.
Could be.
NHLibertyForum.com. Liberty Forum's coming up February 18th through the 21st. It's in Manchester, New Hampshire at the Radisson Hotel. What a great excuse to get together with other liberty-minded people, hundreds of people, many of whom have already moved for the Free State Project, most of whom have not yet moved. They're considering making a move, or they're committed to move but haven't yet had a chance to do so. Maybe they're waiting until the Free State Project reaches 20,000 participants, which it's over or close to 18,000 right now. Go to nhlibertyforum.com and you can get your tickets now. We're going to be broadcasting live from the event. Again, it's February 18th through the 21st. nhlibertyforum.com. The biggest speaker announced thus far, Edward Snowden.
That's a pretty big deal.
The Edward Snowden will be speaking via remote video link, because if he comes to the United States, he'll be arrested by the feds because they hate him for revealing some of their secrets about how they're spying on everyone. Yeah, that Edward Snowden. He'll be speaking as a keynote speaker at the Liberty Forum. Go to nhlibertyforum.com, February 18th through the 21st. We'll look forward to seeing you there. Again, we're broadcasting live every single night. So we were talking about some of the, the characters that are outside of the Star Wars, I guess, preview, if you will, the early premiere that's going to be happening this week. The full release is going to be on Thursday, but there's actually an early premiere happening, I think, Monday or Tuesday in Los Angeles at the Grumman Chinese Theater. Anyway, there's just a little bit more here from The Guardian. There's one guy sporting long brown dreadlocks out front. He is a 45-year-old fan of the original trilogy, he says, but he's old school, so he didn't like The Phantom Menace. He says, I keep coming back to pay tribute to the original Star Wars. Unlike his fellow campers, Mr. Kluge had not made use of the group's new policy, which allows fans to leave the line by signing out in order to go to work, take a shower, or sleep elsewhere. He said the theater lets us use their facilities around the clock. In the past, for the 6-week lines, we'd all rent a motel room to go in and shower. This is only for 12 days, so I don't need that luxury. I'll just use baby wipes in the bathroom. That's good enough.
Man, he's in.
That is hardcore right there. And apparently this is like nothing to him because he's done 6-week-long lines before. What was that for? Were the previous Star Wars movies that fanatical?
I don't know. I can't speak to it, Ian.
I remember them being big. I remember them definitely being a big deal when they came out, but wow.
It's crazy talk to me, but I don't understand any of it. So, I mean, I wouldn't sit in one of these lines. I'm not trying to make fun or anything like that. I get that people are passionate about it. There are things that I would be passionate about, but it just isn't this.
There's a lot of dressing up, too, of course, that goes on. A lot of character cosplay, as they call it, right?
We're excited at my house to see Star Wars. Jack is excited. He's really into Star Wars right now at this moment. Mm-hmm. But we're going to wait to see it till we get down in Florida and can watch it in IMAX. We leave. We're leaving on December the 20th, and we're going to drive down over the course of 2 days. So the earliest possible moment that we could possibly see it would be on like the 23rd. And so
it's going to be packed.
It probably will be, but either way, it'll be fine. Like wait a week to see it, everything will be fine.
Associated Press reporting, riding galaxy-sized expectations. The new Star Wars movie opening Friday is set. It says Friday, but here in Keene, which is by no means the movie capital of the world, it's going to be opening on Thursday evening. They've got 2 showings on Thursday evening.
It's still a Friday opening.
No. If it's not Friday, it's not a Friday opening.
Yep, that's what it is.
Anyway, it's setting records for pre-opening ticket sales. But does that mean the movie is destined to be the biggest of all time? Though several signs point in that direction, of course, the outcome isn't guaranteed. The movie is on track to have the biggest December opening ever, topping The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, which took in $85 million in the United States and Canada on its opening weekend in December of 2012. Ticket seller Fandango says advanced ticket sales for Star Wars Episode 7 have already topped every other movie, and IMAX says it has sold double the previous record. IMAX receipts amount for a third of pre-release sales for this movie.
So I have a difficult time here. I mean, one time I hear that Avengers is the top-grossing movie, and like there's so many qualified number ones when it comes to movies. It's like going into a radio market and asking what the number one station is, and every radio station's number one because they break it out in demographics. Like, well, we're number one with males 12 to 21.
A lot of movies can be number one if you don't adjust for inflation.
And that sort of thing. Also, they're looking at gross receipts, opening night receipts, opening weekend. You know, like they have all these other qualifications, and I don't even know what's number one anymore. I
bet you it's still Gone with the Wind. I'll have to pull up a list.
I don't know.
Because if you adjust for inflation, it's usually Gone with the Wind.
But I want to know, I want new movies to be outdoing old movies. I think this churn is good for sort of the movie economy. If Gone with the Wind is still the biggest movie ever, then J.J. Abrams sucks at his job. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, they should be able to move people into a theater, sit their butts in seats, and have them pay money to watch a movie.
But weren't movies more of a thing back then?
Sure they were. It doesn't matter. You got to make it happen.
Ticket seller Fandango says, again, there's big numbers here. Whether at best the biggest grosser of all time, which has been Avatar, which, if you recall, that was 2009.
So now is Avatar. I thought it was a Marvel movie.
With $2.8 billion
I loved
worldwide.
Avatar. I thought it was an awesome movie. And I thought it was even better when it was Dances with Wolves.
Depends on word of mouth and whether fans love it enough to watch it multiple times through the new year. Star Wars will have the advantage of having weak competition for months. Marvel's Deadpool doesn't come out until mid-February, while Warner Brothers' Batman vs. Superman isn't out until late March. Eric Davis, the managing editor of Fandango, says, I think it's going to own January. I know one guy who has 9 tickets to see it in the first week alone.
9 tickets.
Yeah, he's already bought 9 tickets,
That's
even though
really
he hasn't
funny.
seen it one time.
I will often go see a Marvel movie that I enjoyed a second time.
Okay. In the theater.
In the theater. I like that experience. Sometimes I'll even go so far as to, if I enjoyed it, I'll go and watch it in IMAX or something.
You know what? I actually did see Avatar twice in the theater, but that was just a strange circumstance.
Isn't it what that I drug you there?
I don't know. It's Free Talk Live, 855-450 free.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
A revolution in body protection has arrived only at FortressSurvivalLLC.com. Introducing the revolutionary patented Level 3 Bulletproof Vest. 100% Kevlar, 100% American-made. Concealable, fully adjustable, and the lowest price on the market. Adult size normally $289.99, now just $250. Kid size normally $239.99, now just $200. Get affordable protection with a Level 3A Bulletproof Vest from FortressSurvivalLLC.com. For thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the new Healing Our World is a great gift this Christmas for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Star Wars is coming out this week, and Free Talk Live isn't necessarily a pop culture show, generally. I mean, we like to talk about the ideas of liberty here on Free Talk Live, and I'm sure someone can tie that into Star Wars. They'll draw some sort of parallel between the Empire and the United States government, and, we can go there if you want to. But we do talk about anything here, so this is, in the world of pop culture, one of the most important, probably, cultural cinema icons, if you will. Star Wars. I mean, historically,
I've heard of it, yeah.
In the last several decades now, it's almost been 40 years since the original film came out. It was 1977, I believe, in fact, was the first Star Wars. So, I mean, this is a multi-generational, let's see what the word
phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Phenom. You can use that one too.
Yeah, and so certainly we're talking about, especially given the advanced ticket sales setting records already. So the big question is Star Wars going to be the biggest movie opening of all time? And that is certainly, speculatively, possibly. I mean, given that they've sold more twice, the IMAX theaters have sold more than twice what their current previous record holder was. Other theaters have sold 8 times, so like Fandango or whatever, these early purchase ticket sales sites. There's movietickets.com and Fandango. Those are the two biggies that I know about. They are selling record numbers.
It's really hard for me to go to a movie these days that isn't IMAX. I mean,
really, you're spoiled, huh?
If you're going to go see a movie,
yeah,
don't you want to go get the IMAX experience?
I'd really have to want to go see a movie in order to go all the way to an IMAX, because we're in Keene, New Hampshire. But
that's my problem.
An hour and a half drive to the IMAX.
I'm kind of the opinion that we'd be a lot better off if there were half as many theaters that were twice as good, right? Like, theater owners, destroy those 6 cinemas, open 3 that are IMAX, and play the good movies that people want to see. Now, maybe I'm wrong. They're looking at their business. I'm not looking at their business. I realize not every movie comes out in IMAX, but I've seen a lot of movies that have come out where, 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, I would have gone and seen those movies if I had the chance. But I don't go to the theater anymore unless to me, it's got to be epic.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I can just wait till it comes on Amazon Prime and watch it on TV. I mean, that's a pretty good experience.
So we've got the list of movies, the top grossing movies as adjusted for inflation, and also the unadjusted, the just top grossing movies.
Okay.
So we'll get into that here a little bit. You can also bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And a little bit more about the pre-sales and some of the numbers that might indicate that The Force Awakens, the new Star Wars movie, Episode 7, coming out this week, may be the biggest release ever. You're certainly welcome to share your thoughts on anything you want. Dylan is on the line in Ohio. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dylan.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's on your mind tonight?
I wanted to segue from Star Wars because, everyone loves Star Wars, even me.
There's some people who actually don't love Star Wars, I'm sure. In fact, I was watching the React channel on YouTube, and they did a little Star Wars. What they'll do is they'll play a movie trailer for a group of people, and they'll get the reactions.
Yeah.
They did the Star Wars trailer for The Elders, and there are actually a fair amount of them that, even though they were alive and
really?
Certainly old enough to watch the originals when it came out, who had never seen.
See, I'm with Dylan
Star
here.
Wars.
I thought everybody liked it.
But most of them did love it, just to be clear. Go ahead, Dylan.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to talk about the political race and Rand Paul in particular.
I just saw him. I just saw him last night. Just talked to him last night.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. I know he's not everybody's preferred candidate, but I think he's a viable option. And
his numbers are going up right now. I believe he's just came in 4th in a recent poll at something like 5%, beating out Jeb Bush.
Oh, that's good. That's something I hadn't heard. And if that's the case, then what I wanted to bring up was Rand Paul's ratings were not high enough to be in the next debate, apparently.
Really?
Has that decision been made? Because I know I saw headlines saying that he may not be in the debate if he doesn't get a certain polling percentage, like 3.5% or some arbitrary number like that. Is that a done deal?
What's your source?
CNN actually say he's out?
I was actually listening to Jeff Berwick's podcast, and no, I don't believe it's set in stone yet, but I wanted to make the point that if we want him to continue to express these views that he's got to a vast majority of America, then I guess some people had better start showing support.
When is the debate this week?
I think it's like Thursday or something. Yeah. Don't quote me on it.
Because I saw an article where Rand Paul was sort of hinting at some sort of major announcement that they might make. Like, it was qualified. It was a qualified statement, something to the effect of, if we don't get into the debate, that he's going to have some sort of an announcement on Tuesday about the future of the campaign. And so obviously there's a lot of speculation that he's going to end his campaign if he doesn't make it into this. Now, whether that's that's nothing more than speculation at this point. But if he pulls out of the race, that's certainly going to leave a lot of disappointed, liberty-loving people who've chosen him as their anointed one.
I'd be disappointed.
Exactly, because I mean, everyone has the quarrel that Rand Paul wasn't his dad.
Yeah,
and sure as hell not, he's not.
Nope, not even close.
Well, to some extent, I think that.
Still like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think that Rand was running a campaign to see what it would be like if a libertarian ran as this is my conjecture.
He doesn't say he's a libertarian.
He doesn't say that. No, ran as a sort of an undercover Republican, and to see what that was like. Mike, that's speculation on my part. I don't know the answer, but I have heard. I do know that Ron Paul endorses him, says that he's going to be, he's a good libertarian, and that Judge Napolitano says that he's every inch the libertarian that his dad is.
Yeah. There's he can't call himself a libertarian because there's a bad connotation there somewhere somehow.
Well, I disagree. I mean, Ron Paul whooped his butt in the polling numbers.
In 2012, in his second run.
So
Rand Paul is much younger than Ron Paul.
Ron Paul was on the stage in the debates in the first run too in 2008. By the way. So he was doing fine back then. It was the 2008 run where he had the Ron Paul blimp and all that stuff. So the Ron Paul 2008 campaign was big, and the 2012 campaign was bigger.
The 2008 campaign was big with financing and passionate people. Rand Paul doesn't have the passionate people.
Because he won't talk about freedom.
Who would have known that, though? That's a difficulty.
Anyone who looked at the Ron Paul campaign would have known.
No, I don't think that that's necessarily the case.
You'd have to be a fool to not know that if you don't do what Ron Paul did, you're not going to have as good of results.
Yeah, I think that Rand Paul's got two things working against him. Is that A, those that were passionate about his dad aren't passionate about him because he doesn't speak in the same way. And B, many of those people that his dad converted have now decided to step out of the political process because, it's all immoral anyway.
If Rand Paul sounded like Ron Paul, every single one of the Ron Paul supporters would be behind him. Every one of them. Because they'd be as excited.
That too.
Yeah. Dylan, any other thoughts you want to share with us? Please do.
I just wanted to mention I ordered Halo 5 on Purse, and I got 50% off.
Whoa!
Although I did have to wait.
You got the 50%.
4 weeks. Okay, so you put the order in, and then 4 weeks later, somebody went ahead and bid on it.
Yeah, just for expletive deleteds and giggles.
That's the way to go. I mean, look, I always got some sort of video. If I want to play some video game, I certainly have plenty of them. So why not just put it in at 50% or 45 or whatever percent, and then just see
what happens
and wait until somebody bites it. Hey, here's an update for you, Dylan. I did just check on Rand Paul. He apparently has made the cut, so he will be in the main debate this week, which probably means he won't be resigning from the campaign at this point. So thanks for your call tonight. Glad I could give you some good news there.
Either way, he's more supported than Jeb Bush is, and the media continues to support that guy. He continues to get interviews. I mean, let's be serious here. Jeb Bush is a non-player in this election.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, whether it's Star Wars or the war for the White House. This is Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition here. 855-450-FREE, or Skype into the show at username LRN.FM.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Concerned about harmful contaminants in your water? Look to ProPure, the most trusted name in gravity water filtration systems. ProPure, with the silver-infused Pro 1 G2.0 filter, removes over 200 contaminants, including VOCs, heavy metals, chloramines, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, fluorides, and radiologicals. We don't just say it, we back it up. The Pro 1 G2.0 filter is NSF 42 certified and independently tested to meet NSF 53 and P231 standards. Pro Pure Water, the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. Purchase with confidence in quality, performance, and customer service. Take advantage of our biggest holiday 25% off sale going on now. Visit your authorized Pro Pure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com. Or call 800-544-3533. 800-544-3533.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, inviting you to join us here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. 'Tis the week for Star Wars. Forget about Christmas and holiday shopping. People are going to be lining up, in some cases, for days. Some already have been in Los Angeles, the Hollywood Chinese Theater there. People have been lined up since as early as the 5th of this month, so a solid week already. Some people have been camped out. And according to the piece we were reading from The Guardian earlier, the theater is actually open around the clock for the fans. So if you're in the line there, you can just go and, take a dump in the theater and then go back out to the line.
It's good for the theater to
cater.
Promote this. Yeah.
So very exciting. There's people going to be having a wedding out there. Obviously, all kinds of people decked out in their favorite outfits and things like that. And you're welcome to share your thoughts. 855-450-FREE.
Are they wearing their outfits for a week?
I don't know, Mark.
Putting on skits?
Maybe they're taking a break on sometimes. It's probably not too cold in Los Angeles right now, so I don't know. Toll-free number 855-450-3733. Looking at some of the numbers already, it is shaping up to be a big movie. Obviously the buzz is huge, and the pre-sale tickets are a big deal. Eric Davis is the managing editor of Fandango, which is a large ticket seller online.
I've heard of it, yeah.
He says, I think it's going to own January. I know one guy who has 9 tickets to see it in the first week alone. That's what we're talking about, he says. A single ticket in a big city could cost $25 or more after paying for extras like IMAX and 3D. Can you believe that? $25 to go see a movie these days? It's $10 or $12 here in Keene, New Hampshire.
Yeah, I'm not used to paying even that much, even when I go to IMAX. But if you can get it, you should get it. When it comes to, if you've got this huge blockbuster, it's going to be a blockbuster and everybody's going to want to see it. I don't see any particular reason why you shouldn't raise the price, especially for the early ticket sales.
Social media activities off the charts, according to Movie Pilot Incorporated, exactly a month from release. The Force Awakens had 405 million trailer and teaser views on Facebook and YouTube. That's 87% more than this summer's Jurassic World, which opened domestically with a record of $208 million in ticket sales and owns the all-time number 3 spot with $1.7 billion worldwide. I believe that is not adjusted for inflation. So Jurassic World, the biggest movie of the year thus far, biggest movie of all, third biggest of all time.
Yeah.
That one, the Star Wars movie has 87% more trailer views already than that movie did.
It could mean something very, very good.
Yeah. What's more, the 178,000 weekly searches for the movie on Google is more than 3 times as high as Jurassic World, which had 51,800 weekly searches a month from release, according to Movie Pilot. People are searching and craving and demanding content, said their CEO. That is a very strong signal.
I hope it delivers. I'm sort of disappointed after seeing that silly lightsaber, but then again,
what, the little cross-looking lightsaber?
It didn't
I
do
thought that
anything
looked
for me.
kind of cool.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense. Lightsabers, the way they were designed, when the blades hit each other, there's a lot of friction. So you don't need a crossguard pommel. Plus, if there's a blade in the middle of the crossguard pommel, it just the blade it would hit that little the handle part and then destroy the lightsaber. So in 2 ways, it's useless. But the baddest one of them all so far is Darth Maul. At least that's one of my opinion.
Okay.
That's my opinion. And he had a silly weapon, a 2-bladed sword. It was the 2-bladed lightsaber. Basically, it was a big
dual
long
side,
stick,
like a bow staff kind of thing.
Yeah, but a bow staff is useful because you can grab it in a bunch of different places.
Yeah, this only had the center.
Yeah, this was not as useful. This is like a sword, like a 2-sided sword. You would have to ask yourself, where in the world is the 2-bladed sword if this was a good idea? And the answer is nowhere, because it's not. You can't strike in the same way. You can't follow through because, I don't know, you slice yourself in half.
Right.
So
you can tell Mark is a fan. He has very distinct opinions about the types of lightsabers that are out there.
They really haven't come up with good lightsabers besides the original lightsabers.
They're trying to top it, though.
They
That's what
look
they're trying
good. But here's the question I would have to ask you, and I'm a okay. Before in full disclosure, I'm a fan of shields, not a fan of swords. From a philosophical standpoint.
That's why you like the Captain America.
I think that might be where it came from.
Okay.
But if you can create a lightsaber, can you then not create a light shield?
Why not?
And if you can create a light shield and have a lightsaber, will you not then kick every other Jedi's butt?
So let's go to Randy. He's in California, and you can bring up anything you want. Randy, you're listening to LRN.FM. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Well, I have a different question, but first of all, I have to say I do agree with Mark on some of the sense with the lightsaber deals. I think they look cool. Darth Maul's lightsaber looked really cool, but realistically, it doesn't make sense. Same with the new one with Kylo Ren. Even though I think Kylo Ren handmade his own lightsaber, so maybe that's why it's supposed to show that it's not.
Who's Kylo Ren? Is that the character name?
Bad guy.
Okay.
Yeah, the new one, with that has the lightsaber with the
guy with the duck mask or whatever.
Oh God.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be the new bad guy, but I got opening tickets at Cineopolis. So I'm looking forward to it. But
really awesome.
Besides that,
have fun.
Opening tickets where?
Cineopolis.
Have you heard of Cineopolis?
No, is that a theater brand?
Theaters? Yeah, it's I'm here out here on the West Coast. It's a movie theater. It is the greatest movie theater ever. You sit down. It has kind of lazy boy chairs that you can press a button. They serve you food. They have a waitress and waiter for you, and you have drinks.
Do you have your order in already?
Oh yeah, I'm already prepared.
Can you get a beer?
Rum and Coke waiting for me already.
Okay,
but,
that's what I wanted to know.
Almost all of these foodie theaters have alcohol. They have alcohol licenses.
Right. There's this in where I'm from. There's this one of these theaters that does like the European stuff with subtitles, and the best thing about it is
Burns Court.
Yeah, it was Burns Court. The best thing about it is you can go there and get like a Newcastle Ale, and that was pretty awesome. I haven't seen too many theaters that do that. I don't look around.
They didn't have like tables. Now, do you actually have a table you're sitting in front of, or is it like a fold down from the like if you're on an airplane? Is it like a fold down on the seat in front of you, or are you like actually behind a table?
No, it's kind of like imagine you're at like a regular movie theater, but the seats are huge.
Yeah.
So your arms, even if there's someone next to you, there's probably 1.5 feet of rest in between you and the person next to you.
Nice.
They're super comfy chairs that have a button that the legs go up and down.
Yeah.
And then you have like it's like a little tray that swivels out in front of you, like imagine like almost like a little robotic arm kind of deal that you can slide in front of you. So there's nothing in that like it goes from your armrest and then you pull it over your seat.
So that's what you put the food on. Now, obviously, another big issue with movie theaters is getting in and out of the rows. Do they give you more walking space to like make it easy for the waitress to come bring the food over and people moving around?
Yeah, it's about probably a little bigger than like the handicapped. The regular movie theater, they have a handicapped little row area. It's probably about that size, maybe a little bigger. You have a button you press if you want to drink in the middle of the movie, or they serve like full-on food, and it's good food. They have popcorn, obviously, but then you can get like edamames, you can get sushi, you can get.
What do you drop on one of these things? So, I mean, is the food pretty pricey? I mean, when you go there and you order an entree, what are you paying? $20, $30? What's an entree go for?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like my fiance and I look at it as kind of like the whole night out, But it's the tickets. For both of us to get tickets for the showing, it was $48 for 2 tickets. It's like $22, a little over $22.50 a ticket, which isn't bad considering.
Right.
And then obviously, everything's pretty priced. Popcorn's about the same price, but
$5.
overall, we'll spend $100-$150.
Now, tell me, when you go to this theater, do you go a certain amount of time early to place your order and all that, and like start eating, or like when do they serve the food in relation to when the movie actually begins?
Yeah, well, they have like a restaurant there and a full bar with like 100-foot, or not 100-foot, probably about a 50-foot screen, sports bar that you can sit and eat before the movie. And you can take your drink in with you. You can just walk in with your drink, or you can sit down and you can get there 15 minutes before and order food, but they continue serving food throughout the movie. So
Is it distracting? I mean, do they manage to serve the food without getting in the way of people?
Yeah, and that's the one thing. It's not, they do a good job, the waiters and stuff, of kind of crouching, and the seats, how the levels and rows are spaced, is they're a little higher. So
you got the stadium seating kind of thing?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Almost higher than that.
Sounds like quite a nice experience. I know they have something in New Hampshire like that called Chunky's. I have not yet been to it.
It's just a restaurant with a...
I've heard it's very similar, Mark, where they have the nice seating and you can order food and all that. What was it called? Cineopolis on the West Coast?
Yeah, Cineopolis. Cineopolis.
Sounds like a cool experience, Randy. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate the. Oh, you have a question? All right, stand by. You actually called for a different reason. It's Free Talk Live.
I'll do that to you. Are your kids spending too much time online? Are they gaming instead of doing homework? Are they on Facebook instead of sleeping? Turn their internet access on or off when you want for free at webcurfew.com. 100% web-based interface means nothing to download, install, or configure. Web Curfew is free and controls any device using your home network without slowing down your internet. Block all adult web content with the click of a button. Don't let the internet raise your kids. Take back control of how and when your home internet is used for free. Visit webcurfew.com.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
You can control your health care with Liberty Health Share.
Liberty Health Share is like-minded people coming together to share medical costs, which saves money.
You don't even have to pay for procedures that violate your conscience.
Because we all share the same values.
Join the movement of people who share in medical costs and change the way you pay for your health care forever.
Go to libertyhealthshare.org to find out more.
Liberty Health Share.
Together, we're changing healthcare for good. libertyhealthshare.org.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Cumberland, Rhode Island, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, December 13th, 2015. Silver is trading at $13.92 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,075 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $431. Antiwar.com reports the Iraqi Foreign Ministry on Friday was instructed to lodge a formal complaint against Turkey to the UN Security Council, citing a solid week since Turkish ground troops arrived in the Nineveh province and continue to refuse to leave. Turkey has insisted the troops are there to train Kurdish forces, and President Erdogan said a withdrawal was out of the question. The Iraqi government has previously sought help from NATO in convincing Turkey to leave, though unsuccessfully. Iraq's top religious leader, Grand Ayatollah Ali Sistani, has issued a statement urging the Iraqi government to do something, saying the government is obliged to show no tolerance to any violations of its sovereignty, and saying other nations should not use the pretext of fighting terrorism to send troops into Iraq. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider Abadi had been under growing pressure to stand up to other nations involved in the war against the Islamic State, particularly with previous U.S. deployments coming without any invitation from Iraqi officials. This sense that Abadi is being pushed around is only growing with Turkey's presence.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa is still waiting on emails belonging to the staffer who managed former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's private email server. Grassley sent a letter to Secretary of State John Kerry on Friday asking for the letters of Brian Pagliano. Grassley, who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee, said Pagliano's emails were the committee's highest priority request. Grassley wrote, "Given that the committee is unable to obtain his testimony at this time, I am seeking copies of his official State Department emails relevant to the committee's inquiry before proceeding to consider whether it might be appropriate to grant him immunity and compel him testimony." Grassley's letter says State Department officials could not find a backup of Pagliano's emails and instead are searching for emails of those who corresponded with Pagliano, of which there are a limited number. Earlier this week, Grassley asked FBI Director James Comey whether the FBI had Pagliano's computer. Comey did not comment due to the ongoing investigation. Pagliano had previously declined to testify, invoking his Fifth Amendment rights. Grassley's letter said the committee will not consider its request fulfilled until the State Department explains why there is no backup of Pagliano's emails. He also called for the department to provide expert witnesses to explain why the department did not keep any emails from Pagliano.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports the American Civil Liberties Union of Colorado said on Friday that it had accepted the resignation of a co-chair who came under criticism for a Facebook post that said people who insist on voting for Donald Trump should be told they will be shot. Loring Werble, who served as a co-chair of the Colorado Springs chapter of the ACLU, also compared Trump, the current Republican presidential frontrunner, to Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels. Werble's Facebook comments were reported by the conservative website The Daily Caller and caught the ire of Donald Trump supporters and members of the Republican Party of Colorado. Daniel Cole, executive director of the El Paso County Republican Party, called for Werble to be replaced at the ACLU. Werble said the comments were not meant to be taken seriously. The ACLU said in a statement on Friday that it had accepted Werble's resignation and did not condone the sentiments. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In Baltimore, the streets have gotten safer thanks to the success of the new Permanent Daylight Initiative, which aims to prevent crime by illuminating the entire city 24 hours a day using high-powered floodlights.
It's just that it's so bright all the time, even in the rain.
City officials say there have been 0 violent crimes since the start of the program, except for one man who vandalized the light by throwing his body off a building into it. Now let's set our crosshairs on to Mountain View, California, where Gmail servers were down for nearly 2 hours today. In an online statement, the company said, "Tremble before Google. With the mere flip of a switch, we can bring you to your knees." After reestablishing service this afternoon, Google changed its logo and released a statement saying, if not appeased with a 20% increase in Google Chrome downloads by the next vernal equinox, they will take back their generous gift unto mankind of colored conversation labeling. All right, you can take off your helmet. You have survived the News Blitz.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. been a lot of Star Wars. I know people are going to hate me for that one. Star Wars talk here tonight.
It's been pretty obvious up to this point that you really don't know what you're talking about.
I enjoy the Star Wars movies. I've seen the first one a few times, and the other two probably only like once per. And then the other three, saw them in the theater. Actually, I don't know. I saw one in the theater or something like that. I've seen them. And I've enjoyed them, but I'm certainly not a fanatic. I will go see this new one, and I'll probably go see it in the theaters just because it's a big deal. And if you're going to see Star Wars, you probably should see it in the theaters because the big screen's always better. But we've been talking about a lot about why it may, possibly be the biggest release of all time.
What's your favorite franchise, Ian? I mean, Star Wars is going to be the answer for a lot of people. For me, Marvel, it probably is. It took a lot of the wind out of the sails of Star Wars. And what's your favorite franchise?
I like the Alien and the Predator movies. Those are some of my favorites. But anyway, let's go back to Randy. He's in California. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Randy.
Yep. I had a question, and we got off track a little bit about what I was going to ask. But let me just start off by saying, there are crazy conspiracies out there that do not make sense, and people try to justify them with made up or just confounded evidence of why they are, conspiracies, and it's true. Obama's a lizard man and things like that. But what I have to say, though, is that there are conspiracies that are true, and I think that just saying someone is a conspiracy theorist to basically discredit everything they say, it's kind of ridiculous. And, just take recently, that with the whole U.S. funded, they gave Iraq chemical weapons to use against Iran, in which then Iraq killed thousands and tens of thousands of civilians and people, chemical weapons during the Iran-Iraq war. And before all this evidence was made public, people came out and there was proof that it was true. And everybody said, you're just a conspiracy theorist. The U.S. government would never give chemical weapons to Iraq. What are you talking about? And then it comes out that it is true, and no, the media doesn't cover it. They just cover it up. But my question to Ian is, I've been listening to podcasts a couple of days, is people come on and have talked about conspiracy theories, and yes, I've heard some of the guests they talk about is ridiculous. But my question is at what point do you say to someone, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist? And it almost downplays, everybody thinks whatever this guy is going to say next is untrue, it's ridiculous. Once you call someone that, it discredits everything they say, true or false. It doesn't matter. And I just want to say, what point do you say that to someone, on what grounds, and then to disprove what they say? That because what they say may sound ridiculous now, but could possibly come out and be true later on.
So the question is, at what point do I call someone a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah, like what, when someone says something, what makes you decide that person is a conspiracy theorist and that what they say isn't true, kind of no matter what they say?
Well, anyone who would be speculating, I think, would be a conspiracy theorist.
I listen to the Rush Limbaugh show and a variety of talk shows out there, and they're constantly speculating as to what the Democrats are doing or what the Republicans are doing.
Yeah,
so they're all
conspiracy theorists.
Because everybody's a conspiracy theorist.
If you've got some facts, if you've got some evidence, then that's not a theory so much, right? Like if you've got hard evidence of something that has happened, then that's one thing. But if somebody calls in and says, that guy who shot those two people on the pier live on television, it was all a plot by the government, and there's no actual evidence to back that up, then that would be a conspiracy theory, in my mind, at least.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think there are, ridiculous things. But I just think that just more so that when people... My whole point is just when people they come out and say, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist, after someone says something, it just, to some sense, it discredits everything they're going to say. Then it doesn't matter what they say from that point on.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. There certainly are conspiracies out there. We've talked about that before. And obviously it's easier to look back years later and say, oh, yeah, that was a Conspiracy, a real conspiracy.
I think it might be fair to say when somebody's talking about something to say that is conspiracy theory. Until you can provide exceptional evidence for your exceptional claim, then we're in the realm of conspiracy theory. I'm willing to go in that realm because how else are you going to come up with the truth if you don't speculate on what it might be? So it's just that when one can take it too far, in my opinion, too.
Well, there's speculation, and then there's representing speculation as though it's the truth, as though it's absolutely what happened, which is what a lot of conspiracy theorists do. They believe their theory so thoroughly that to them it is the truth, and that anyone who questions them is some sort of heretic or whatever.
Yeah, I try not to use the term.
Thanks for the call, Randy. I appreciate hearing from you here tonight. Joining us in the studio now, Jay Noone is with us here from actually originally Massachusetts, now living out in Colorado, doing some work out there temporarily. Hey, Jay.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you here back in New Hampshire, where we love having you.
Yeah, you've been on the show quite a few times, actually, and I find you just fascinating. So whenever you come in town, I'd like to grab you.
So here you are. What did you have an update for some of our listeners on your saga? For those just tuning in, Jay, years ago now, actually, when you owned a house in Palmer, Massachusetts, you never paid the property taxes on that property. They ultimately threatened you over it and came and stole your house from you eventually after there was an incident where Mark, you and I, and some other activists from New Hampshire came down, and activists from across Massachusetts, because you were again in Palmer, Massachusetts at that time, came to kind of come to your defense when the state was threatening you, or the city was threatening you to come take your house. And that seemed to put them off for a few months, and then ultimately they came at, 4 in the morning or something like that, and
yeah, it was
raided your house?
It was like 6:30 in the morning. They ended up just showing up, about 15 guys with guns and, and
you'll be leaving now.
Yeah, we're leaving you. No jury trial, no evidence. You can't even get a jury trial in Massachusetts for a property tax issue. There's no formal way to get a jury trial at land court, which is, it says even several times in the Massachusetts Constitution, I think about 7 to 10 times before property can be taken, there must be a trial by judgment of peers.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah, and that didn't happen. But like I've been saying now to everybody for over a year, we're not dealing with governments. We're dealing with municipal corporations that call themselves governmental agencies. They're registered as charitable organizations, just like what that thing you guys did about, back in the spring or in the late winter, you guys had a show where you were talking about how the Massachusetts State Police, the Supreme Court in Massachusetts, ruled that they didn't have to file or answer Freedom of Information Act requests because they were charitable organizations called law enforcement councils. And you can just Google Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council and Freedom of Information Act requests, and it pops right up there. You guys talked about it on the show.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're not dealing with governments anymore. We're dealing with corporations, essentially.
Yep.
Well, when have they ever been governments and not corporations? Was there a time when that was the case?
I can't really tell you when a transition happened. Did a government really ever exist? I don't really think so. I mean, the government's probably been hijacked right from the beginning. But now they don't even have a document that they can rely on, that they can grab and say, this document proves we're a government. But they have plenty of documents that say governmental, and the key is a suffix AL on the end of governmental. That's right. The suffix AL means similar to or like. And so obviously if you go to court for a traffic ticket for having the wrong plant in your pocket, you have no rights. And that's just been the case right along. People are going to jail. And now people are just getting executed, actually, right on the side of the road, as with Eric Gardner and, 1,000 others now or better.
1,000 people this year alone have been killed by police in the United States.
So, and nothing's happening to the police. There's no due process protection. So essentially, the Constitution is virtually useless, and we're not dealing with governments as far as I'm concerned.
All right. So they took your house from you. You filed a case in federal court, which ultimately got booted, right?
That's correct, yep.
And if there's an update, we'll get it from you here in moments.
Yes.
Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. If you've got a question for Jay Noone, he's here with us. He's had a lot of experience in the court system and had some interesting stories that he's told us over the years. 855-450-3733. Plus, more on the Star Wars phenomenon as people begin lining up.
Bloated belly? Gas? Acid reflux? You could have pounds of rotting, rancid, toxic gunk clogging up your gut right now. And with all the processed food we're exposed to today, it's no wonder why. Fortunately, there's New Biotics, our first ever gunk buster for cleansing that toxic gunk out of your body. And right now, we're giving away a free trial to anyone who calls the following toll-free number, 1-800-983-2573. Strict limit of 1 free trial per household. With pounds of toxic gunk clogging up your gut, it's no wonder you don't feel good. Made with natural ingredients, New Biotics is our first ever gunk buster scientifically designed to unclog your gut and cleanse that gunk from your body, flattening your belly and combating periodic bloating, excess gas, heartburn, and acid reflux. But hurry, call now for your free trial of New Biotics while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-983-2573. Call now for details. 1-800-983-2573. That's 1-800-983-2573.
As your body ages, there's a 10% decline in your ability to repair each passing decade after the age 28. By age 40, your ability to repair from demanding manual labor, exercise, or a stressful desk job has declined by 12%. By using One World Whey, you supercharge your body's ability to repair and eliminate inflammation. Our unique frequency-encoded whey protein, coupled with our high-quality whey, improves your cell's ability to make protein, which is to say, repair itself.
My name is Jonathan Wright, and I'm 40 years old. I recently went from a desk job to a manual labor job. Normally, I'm worn out. With energy-enhanced One World Whey, I now recover so quickly that I can perform very hard work all day long. I use energy-enhanced One World Whey for breakfast and lunch, and I experience less hunger throughout the day. I have a 30% increase in energy, and I just feel better. I plan to make energy-enhanced One World Whey a permanent part of my lifestyle.
Call 888-988-3325 or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworld, WHEY.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is down $5 at $1,067 per ounce. Silver is 26 cents lower at $13.91 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $432 US. We still have plenty of 2015 US Mint silver and gold Eagle coins available at these low prices. Give Robertson Roberts a call today at 800-874-9760 or shop online at rrbi.co.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may join us right here, toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You've also got our website. Head over to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we have there on the site for you. It is the season for ugly sweaters, and if you don't have yours yet from tipsyelves.com, it's not too late to get your order in and get 20% off site-wide by using code FTL at the checkout. That's code FTL. That'll get you a discount on their super ugly sweaters that are also pretty comfortable and nice and warm as well. We have them here, not
That's
on
right.
tonight. We don't have them on tonight, but
It's warm here in New Hampshire tonight.
It actually is. It's
Yeah.
been warm the last couple days.
I wouldn't want a sweater on today.
But,
Long sleeves.
If you're going to a Christmas party, this is going to attract a lot of attention. People are going to be talking about you and likely to you about your clothing.
You got to
choices.
see these things, from the decorated Christmas tree sweater to the cat with laser eyes to Ian Santa's helper sweater.
It's as gaudy as you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And their variety of prices, go and check them out at tipsyelves.com. They've got other things, too, like maybe you're into onesies, adult onesies. They have that. Also, other holiday and collegiate attire. So those of you who are really into college, whatever, sports, etc., or just a college, they got all kinds of logos of those things. Go to tipsyelves.com. Use code FTL. You'll save 20% site-wide. Code FTL, tipsyelves.com. As we continue here. Jay Noone joining Ian and Mark in the studio. Jay, you had the town of Palmer come after your house a few years ago. You filed a lawsuit after they stole your house successfully from you with a tax sale. They actually ended up selling it to a neighbor or something like that, if I'm recalling correctly. I ended up getting arrested during some of this ordeal for recording video in the Palmer Town Hall. And that one actually was a success in that I won that case with the help of the ACLU and got a $5,000 settlement. Sadly, you didn't have success in federal court when you tried to file a case. So they booted you out, for standing? No standing?
Well, actually, to back up a little bit, the federal case that I filed was to stop them from taking my father's farm.
Ah, okay.
That's what it's about. I actually haven't done anything with my house yet.
Is it too late?
No, it's not too late. I got there's actually a common law way I'm going to go about the deal on my house.
Before you go on, your dad was, I think, your inspiration in that he had not paid property taxes on that farm for decades. And they hadn't taken it from him while he was alive. He did pass away, and that was when they started moving against the farm, correct?
Well, they brought a case against. He bought the farm in '83. They brought a case against him in 1991, and he went to it was in the local district court, basically the same court you were in down there in Palmer, and he said to the town solicitor, town's lawyer, "Hey, where's your instrument I signed that compelled me to participate in the real estate tax scheme?" And the town lawyer just started laughing, so he thinks he needs a contract.
Yeah, we don't have to get you to sign anything to steal your money.
So the judge at the time, old timer, I forget his name. I actually might be Riddle, but he said that well, you have 30 days to produce a contract, or this case is going to be dismissed. Well, my dad went back to court 30 days later, and they had a second and third call on the case, and the town solicitor never showed up, and they dismissed the case. Now, the evidence of this, if anybody wants to go into Hampden County Registry of Deeds and type in the name Spud Noone, Palmer, Mass, and what you'll find in 1989, you'll find where a lien was put on that farm, on that property. And then you'll see in 1991, there is a disclosure and release of tax lien that was after that case. So we went in, myself and a very good legal researcher friend of mine went into Palmer Court several times, and they still to this day have not allowed us through archives. That was actually part of our federal lawsuit, was basically to get an order to allow us to dig through the archives and find this case from 1991, which they have been totally resistant about.
And so the federal case got booted out.
And the federal case got booted out for failure to state a claim upon which relief could be granted. And what the magistrate wrote in the federal in his report and recommendation was that I have not been damaged. Me and my brothers have not been damaged
by the town trying to take your dad's property.
By the town, because the town has not shown up yet. So I was more under the belief until a couple of weeks ago that they're probably not going to come mess with me up there in the farm, because the federal court basically said, without saying it, when they come and take the place, then you can sue them.
So they've only initially threatened to take the place. They have not yet actually made the legal moves necessary to tax sale your dad's former property.
So they haven't evicted us from it yet. So my brothers and I are still using the property.
Okay.
And my two of my brothers
they have
are
sent
actually
a notice.
living there.
There's some sort of notice,
Nope.
some kind of threat.
There's been no notice, no anything.
How did you get wind that they were looking to take it?
Well, basically, I got wind through some town officials. And about 2 weeks ago, the chief of police rolled up to the farm while my brothers were up there doing stuff, and he said, My brother goes, "Hey, what are you doing up here? You're trespassing. Get off our land." And he says, "Well, I'm just checking on the town's assets."
Oh.
He says. And he said to my brother, "Are you leaving here?" My brother goes, "It's none of your... Are you living here?" My brother says, "It's none of your business. Leave. You're trespassing." And the chief of police, his name is, I think it's Janilevitz now. It's not the other guy you deal with. He retired. And anyways, he went to say something else. And my brother got right in his face and says, "Get off my property. You're trespassing. I want you off my property now." And he put the car in drive and he drove off. So
I don't suppose they got video of this, did they?
No, they didn't get video of this.
Needs more video, Jay.
I know. So yeah, I mean, he's up there, he's, stacking hay or something, and they show up there.
Sure.
Not exactly ready for video,
That's why you got to have your cell phone.
So one guy shows up there, just to chief himself. So I started asking around town, and the reply I got back from some people like that are kind of in the know was that the town of Palmer is in talks with the state police and the sheriff's department on evicting us from the farm.
Okay.
And they are planning on starting this eviction process after the first of the year.
But wait, I thought they haven't yet taken the property legally. How can they evict if they haven't taken ownership of the property?
Well, in land court, land court basically gave the town of Palmer judgment. Now, if you remember when you guys came down to my house that day, I showed you guys a judgment that had no signature on it.
Yep.
Well, it's basically the same judgment. In fact, every judgment in tax lien case in Massachusetts land court, there is no signature and there is no seal of a court on the judgments.
It's really weird. I mean, that they wouldn't give you some kind of signature. It's weird.
Well, because everything I believe they're doing is totally unlawful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have no contract. Even when my father said to them in the land court proceeding, and I have the transcripts, and in fact, I've been circulating these transcripts all over the place. I sent them to some representatives, some other people. I'm putting together some other packets. I actually got a friend down in Maryland. She's going to help me out with some stuff on this. She's had 2 successes in Virginia and Maryland on saving properties. But even in the transcripts, my dad asked for the contract, and they said, "We have a contract, but we don't need to produce it."
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Jay Noone's here. He's got more experience than anybody else when it comes to the government stealing property. They're looking to move against his dad's property at this point. 855-450-FREE is our number. We've got Skype as well. Skype username is LRN.FM.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Hi, I'm Rick Ossick with Famous Footwear. Did you know that premature birth is the #1 killer of babies? That's why we support the March of Dimes in the fight against premature birth. Join us in supporting cutting-edge research, treatment programs, and outreach to help moms have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. Learn how you can help save babies' lives at marchofdimes.org.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
The only thing that separates government from the mafia is their cloak of legitimacy. The government is nothing more than an armed gang of violent people masquerading as though they're something else. They've got these PR systems in place to make people think that there's something special about their armed gang, to make them not realize that that's all they really are. They've got uniforms, they've got robes, they've got courtrooms, they've got this aura, they've got flags, they've got pledges of allegiance, they run the schools, they run the roads, they're everywhere. So you think that they're supposed to be there. They've been there since you've been born, so they must always have to be there. Well, that's not true. They're an organized gang of criminals. You know how I know they're criminals? Because they're using force on people, and that's wrong. It's just wrong to force people to do things.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live Sunday edition here. You can join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Whether it's government stealing people's houses or Star Wars, we've talked about those things here tonight. You can bring up anything that you want. It's Ian and Mark in the studio. We got special guest Jay Noone with us here, who is taking a little break from working out on the farm in Colorado to come back and visit some friends and do some things here in the New Hampshire, Massachusetts area. We're kind of recapping for our listeners who may not be familiar with you, maybe they're just tuning in for the first time tonight, that you have been through a real odyssey, quite a saga of loss of property on behalf of these people calling themselves the government, which you say they're not governments, they're corporations, these sort of municipal corporations that are acting like they're governments, but in point of fact aren't. They've managed to successfully steal your property from you when you had a home in Palmer, Massachusetts, and now they're attempting to move against your dad's property. He passed away a few years ago. Super nice guy. Really enjoyed the limited time that I spent with Spud. And he was a hero, I mean, because he had actually successfully fended off these government goons back in the 80s when they came after his property initially, and he demanded they show the contract that he signed to be, I guess, susceptible to the whole property tax scheme. They couldn't show the contract. They never showed back up in court, so the case was dismissed, and he held onto the property until he passed away. Now you and your brothers are occupying the space, but apparently the town is coming at you again. You filed a suit in federal court. It was dismissed because the town hadn't actually taken the land at that point. Does that mean that you plan on filing again if the town makes a move?
Well, actually, I have a lawsuit ready to go. In fact, I'm going to do it a little different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to file a claim, and it's going to be a claim, not a complaint. And when federal court goes and converts my claim into a complaint like they did last time, I'm going to put a stop to that immediately. I'm going to say, no, this is a claim I have. Because a complaint really has no validity unless you're the state or acting as the state. Because people bring complaints all the time and they go nowhere. Mm-hmm. What has validity is an actual claim and maintaining the claim throughout. And I did fail on maintaining a claim throughout on the last action I took against the town. It was very, very valuable. I suggest that people go spend $350 and file a federal lawsuit, against an agency that has damaged you, just for the learning experience, because it was a very valuable learning experience for me. I learned a lot. I did stay awake, 18, 20 hours a day, researching, cramming, having to have stuff filed. But I learned a tremendous amount, and I'm going to be a lot better at it this time. And I have some really, really good professional help. I got some successful people that want to help me, that are really interested in help me. And so yeah, I have a lawsuit ready to go as soon as they basically make their move. And
as soon as the shoe drops, and so as soon as they issue an order to remove you from the house, the eviction order, is that when you could file?
I think I'm going to file after they actually try to come take the place.
Okay.
Actually try to.
So they'll give you a notice. They'll say you've got to be out by this date, and then at some point, presumably, send the gang in.
Correct.
To move you out.
Yeah, and when they send the gang in, the files get in, and everybody who's involved in.
You're in Colorado now. How many brothers are there?
I got two brothers actually living there, and on the farm, and I have another brother who's about 4 miles away.
Tell them they gotta have a cell phone nearby, or a camcorder or something, especially when the goons come in to make that raid. I mean, you get that on video. That's how you're going to be able to blow up this into a larger story. I mean, we can talk about it on Free Talk Live,
right.
And that's fine and good. But to have that video to point people to of the cops showing up in mass and coming in and physically moving them off the property, I think that's something that will really, I think, take it to the next level as far as publicity is concerned for what's going on.
Absolutely, and
it'll embarrass the cops too when they do that.
And another thing I'm doing is. I'm putting together some letters, and I'm going to be putting on my Facebook page and emailing the people to basically send representatives everywhere, and legislators and bureaucrats on why is property being taken without a jury trial? Why are you guys not following the Constitution? Just questions for these guys, because I believe there's a lot of
they don't know anything about this.
State representatives got no idea what's going on.
Right.
The local state representative, I am working on contacting him. Todd Samola is his name, Massachusetts. But I talked to him like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and he goes, "What do you mean there's no jury trial?" And I'm like, "There's no jury trial. There's no trial.
Right. They take your land, and there's no trial, and that's crazy.
There's not even a judge in Massachusetts land court. They have a recorder, and there's no signature.
Nobody
on the
signs the
documents.
piece of paper, right?
Right.
Recording unsigned documents.
They take people's property without a signature from a judge and without a jury, and I just think it's fascinating. At the very least, even if Jay Noone is completely wrong, he deserves to have a jury trial before they take his house from him.
Let's go to Dean in Arizona. Dean, you're on Free Talk Live with Jay Noone.
It's James, by the way, and Jay Noone, what Minister Freeman just engaged in is wishful thinking, wishing upon a star that if you get it all on video cam and you're evicted from your house, everything will turn out great because everybody will side with you.
I didn't say everyone would turn out great. I said that would get more publicity for the case.
Maybe I'm exaggerating what you said, but the gist is correct. Thanks for interrupting. Mr. Noone, I was wondering when you're going to start calling yourself minister, maybe of like the free-range chickens, and in the long run, when your brothers lose their house, maybe go to jail, because you're going to lose, whether we like it or not, any of us libertarians. When you suffer financially and possibly hardship-wise behind bars, is it going to be worth it?
Thanks for the call, James. What do you think? Is it all worth it?
Well, first off, is James libertarian?
He claims to be, but I don't think he meets the qualifications.
Well, I don't know. I mean, with my house, I could have paid the taxes, and. What I've told everybody is, Rosa Parks could have sat at the back of the bus. Was it worth it to her? I mean, yeah, it turned out to be worth it to her. I mean, what we have here is we have, governmental agencies requiring people to rent their property, such as King George was requiring people to rent property. It was kind of a real big element that sparked up the brush fires of liberty that turned into, the Revolutionary War was people couldn't own property. And what it comes down to is private property rights. Ron Paul ran for president. I think he knew he wasn't going to become president, but he spread the word of liberty.
He sure did. Yeah.
So if I don't win and I go to court and waste my time, what I have very least, and I've done this is I've brought this attention to a lot of people. A lot of people understand they don't own their property, that they can't even own property, and a lot of people are upset about it. And I have people contacting me all the time telling me, that they really think it's great what I'm trying to do, and they support me, and they would have never even known except for they heard something about me on the local radio station or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to my Facebook page, and then they come across Free Talk Live. They come across the Free State Project.
And you're a big Bitcoin guy now, so
Yeah,
you're constantly talking to people about Bitcoin and the Free State Project.
And so, and even out in Colorado, I'm pushing the Free State Project all the time. I'm going to Bitcoin meetings. I'm at the Denver Bitcoin Center once a week.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing stuff at We Are Change Colorado. And out there's a ton of people just coming up to me after, oh, you're the guy with the property tax, and I can't stand my property tax, and I just want to write a letter to my tax collector. Can you help me out with that? And that's powerful. Just letting the tax collector know that, hey, what you're doing to me is wrong. And the town council and everything.
We need more people, the people that are expressing this stuff to you, to come together to be able to better support people. Because when people came to your property before they stole it from you, it was a real powerful moment, having people come from all across Massachusetts.
Yeah, they backed down. Those the sheriff's office backed down.
Sure as hell did. They weren't anywhere to be seen. There was that one car sitting a ways away. It made for quite an entertaining video that I ended up posting. I think it was either me or Pete posted. I'm sure if you search for Jay Noone on Free Keen, you'll find that video. But we're going to continue here. If you've got a question for Jay, he's with us for the remainder of the show. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And maybe we'll tie it all back into Star Wars here in moments. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the new Healing Our World is a great gift this Christmas for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
We've had an amazing year here at Supernatural Silver. We've truly enjoyed the fantastic response from thousands of people as they've tried our extraordinary product, and we're thrilled at the life-changing results people have. Our company email is continually full of happy, satisfied customers who thank us for the help they've received from Supernatural Silver. This holiday season, as you think of gifts to give your loved ones, consider giving Supernatural Silver, a gift that can help provide good health and wellness, a gift that can change lives and make a real difference. In a world where we are constantly exposed to dangerous health threats, give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance. Give Supernatural Silver. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HOLIDAY2015 for 20% off. And this holiday season, we wish you and yours the blessings of peace and good health from all of us here at supernaturalsilver.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you you can go this way?
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us here toll free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So far, the poll that we put up over at freetalklive.com, everyone is voting for Jar Jar Binks over the Ewoks as the worst character.
Most annoying?
I said who's worse. It was the poll question that I wrote, giving the choice of Jar Jar or the Ewoks, or they're both equally annoying. And, well, there's only 3 votes so far, but 100% of the 3 votes. It's hard to get people off of Facebook, man. I put up the question.
Right, 1,000 people have seen it, and 3 will be willing to get off of Facebook, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I put the question up on our Facebook page and, of course, Twitter as well. And, of course, you know, everybody's just writing their comment on Facebook as to how they want to vote, rather than actually going and voting. Yeah, over 1,000 people, Mark, have been reached.
Oh,
by
I know.
This poll.
I mean, we've got 11 million post views this week on Facebook. No slouch at all. You can only get 3 to go off of Facebook in the biggest week of Star Wars, right?
So Jar Jar almost completely dominating in this, at least if you look through the Facebook comments.
So here's my suggestion. It's because people are generally conservative when it comes to not wanting to change that something.
Wait, what does that have to do with Star Wars and the Jar Jar and the Ewoks?
Okay, so most people who are listening to Free Talk Live, the Ewoks occurred before whatever transition point came for them, call it 14 years old or whatever, that they decided that this is the new stuff and that's the old stuff. Ewoks were the reality for them already. So they're not as annoying as, oh my God, you changed my Star Wars.
And they have the fond memories of the past, that kind of thing.
I suggest to you that Ewoks are as annoying to somebody your age as Jar Jar was when you first saw Jar Jar.
Honestly, I don't know, because like I said, I've only seen the movies a couple times. Jay Noone is with us here. Are you a Star Wars fan, Jay?
Not really. Actually, we did watch the original Star Wars about a week ago with my brother, and I kind of remember
the one from 1977.
I guess yeah. But I remember it when I was a kid. But I was never really much into it. And my brother Josh, he was really into like Star Trek and Star Wars and like mining Bitcoin in 2009. So he's into all that stuff.
If only we had known to mine Bitcoin in 2009. So you're welcome to join us here, 855-450-FREE, and that's 855-450-3733. We were comparing earlier some of the numbers, or looking at the numbers on the sort of the early indicators of how big this Star Wars movie is going to be this week, showing that Jurassic World, which is like the number 3 movie grossing of all time, if you don't factor for inflation, Jurassic World had a huge opening this summer with $208 million in ticket sales. But The Force Awakens, the new Star Wars movie, has 87% more trailer and teaser views on Facebook and YouTube.
4 times the teaser views as Jurassic Park. Now, I'd be interested in knowing what other movies had that kind of teaser view.
Well, 87% isn't 4 times as many.
87%? Oh, so it's less than.
It's 87%. So it's
Okay,
not
I'm
even
sorry.
double.
I was thinking, I don't know what I was thinking.
But
precisely.
it's an indicator that it's going to be pretty big. Further, it had more searches on Google. So you do little Google Trends. You can look up whatever's being searched on Google.
I'm really surprised that more people watched the trailer for Jurassic Park than they did for Star Wars.
It did have no, Mark. More people have watched it for Star Wars. 87% more, meaning 87% of the Jurassic Park views on top of the total of Jurassic Park views.
Gotcha.
Got it?
Almost twice as many.
So 187% if you want to look at it in that way. Anyway, Jurassic World had 51,800 weekly searches on Google a month. This is a month before release. And the Star Wars movie had 178,000, so more than three times as many Google searches. These are strong signals, according to Movie Pilot CEO Toby Bockhage. To be sure, December releases do tend to be smaller than summer releases, so coming out on top may take a marathon rather than a sprint. But on the other hand, if you look at it in this way, summertime is like the big competition time for movies, right? Like,
sure.
I mean, the major movie companies are competing head-to-head on some big properties, big franchises. This movie is opening with no competition. Like, there's nothing out there that is going to compete with... No one wants to compete with Star Wars. No other movie company is, crazy enough to go head-to-head against this movie. So Star Wars is pretty much it as far as the releases are concerned this week. I don't know what else is coming out. Do you?
No.
Yeah. So anyway, the all-time high did have one thing going for it, which was Avatar. It rode a wave of consumer interest in 3D, which, as you recall, was brand new.
It was a big deal
when Avatar came out. And it did cost a little bit more than regular tickets. That frenzy has largely cooled off. Traditionalists with a nostalgia for the originals might prefer a 2D screening, especially with director J.J. Abrams' use of more realistic-looking special effects puppetry. Advanced sales don't always equate to record grosses. The first installment of The Hunger Games was the leader in advanced sales, but topped out worldwide at a gross of $693 million, which didn't even place it in the top 10. However, The Force Awakens benefits from a larger international release and the fact that it'll span multiple generations. So the Star Wars fans are multiple generations old. The movie has a much bigger Chinese box office to tap now. Avatar pulled down a monstrous $204 million in China through 2010, but the theatrical market there is now at least 3 times as large. So
a lot of people have a lot more money.
Right. There's been tremendous growth in the cinema world in China.
There are still people in China that make less than $2 a day, so you can't imagine folks like that have a lot to are able to throw down $10 or $15 for a movie ticket.
I'm sure it won't be that much in China. But it would make the difference between the so-so reaction to the Star Wars prequels, episodes 1 to 3, with heavily parodied characters like Jar Jar Binks and video game-like action scenes, and the satisfying revival that fans are hoping for. Quote, the brand name alone and excitement for the franchise will get huge numbers in the door, said a senior media analyst, but for very long-term prospects, you have to have a movie that delivers. And that's certainly true. The first weekend... if people see this movie and they're disappointed by it, then you're not going to get as many repeat views, which is where they really build those box office numbers. We got Jeff. He's in South Carolina. Jeff, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, J. Noone, and Mark.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Yes,
I'm an attorney in South Carolina, and I concentrate in the area of tax deed law, tax sales, and I represent a lot of people who purchase property tax sales. Auctions is the way we do it in South Carolina. And I represent people who've lost their property. And I'm curious because, not familiar with your show, I'm curious what the theory is about owning land and not paying taxes. If I understand one of the previous callers, the notion is he wants to own his property and not pay his taxes. Is that correct?
Well, isn't property, ownership would suggest that you don't have to pay in order to own, right? Property taxes look remarkably like rent. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I don't agree with that. But okay. If that's the position
they come down from quit rents, right?
I'm sorry. How can you own something but yet have to pay somebody else for the privilege of that?
And if you don't pay it, you leave.
Well, I think that I own a car, a boat, and land, and paying taxes is all part of the deal.
Well, no, it's not part of the deal. I didn't agree to that.
You don't paying taxes on a car is only paid to drive it on other people's roads. I'd point that out. I mean, with land, you're not asking anybody for anything else. So I get that.
Aren't you sort of asking for some sort of social contract with police protection and fire protection and police schools and stuff? I mean, what am I missing there? Isn't that where your tax money is going? And aren't you taxed by your representatives in your legislature that are setting the law related to taxes on your property? Isn't that all part of what we're doing here in America?
Well, can we agree that property tax is like an excise tax? I found some court-related documents that basically claim that ad valorem tax, property tax, is like an excise tax. And so would you agree that property tax is kind of like an excise tax?
I really don't know anything about excise tax. I know a lot about ad valorem taxes, but how is it like an excise tax? What is? Explain that to me. Screw me. I've got a law degree and 17 years of practice in law. We didn't study excise tax, so school me on that.
Well, I'm no professional, but from what I understand, an excise tax is basically the same thing as very similar to ad valorem tax, and property tax is called an ad valorem and excise tax. And the Supreme Court has ruled that an excise tax can only be applied on a taxable privilege. So is owning land or such as property a taxable privilege, or is it a right?
I wish we had more time to talk about this. Jeff, you should call in another night.
I'm begging you to, because I want to talk more to you, Jeff. Yeah. I think you've got a lot of information we can mine.
Call us tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at night Eastern Time, because you called right at the end of the show. Thanks for the call tonight. It's free talk.
Are you getting squeezed by the economic downturn? Hey, you were doing fine. Then, all of a sudden, you're having a tough time paying your family's credit card bills. Maybe you were downsized or even lost a job, but you still owe 10 grand or more in credit card bills, and you just can't afford the minimum payments anymore. We're here to help. We are the Genesis Debt Partners. We know the secrets to negotiate better terms with your creditors. Make a free 10-minute call right now and learn how we can help you get out of debt. 800-981-7590. If you owe 10 grand or more in credit card debt and you want to learn how you can pay less and get out of debt faster, call right now. 800-981-7590. 800-981-7590. Get out of debt now. 800-981-7590.
If there was a place that liberty-minded people had been elected to political positions and were rolling back government, would you move there? If freedom lovers had secured a 20% voting bloc and can veto most bad bills, would you move? Well, the time has come to sign the pledge at freestateproject.org. These things have happened in New Hampshire, and you can join us and help. freestateproject.org. Sign up now at freestateproject.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine. so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
The latest edition of Professor CJ's Dangerous History is next on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Get more at profcj.org.
Now, you might be noticing I don't feel about that war the way we were told we were supposed to feel about that war, the way we were ordered and instructed by the United States government to feel about that war. See, my mind doesn't work that way. I got this real moron thing I do. It's called thinking. And I'm not a really good American because I like to form my own opinions. I don't just roll over when I'm told to. Sad to say, most Americans just roll over on command. Not me. Not me. I have certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. Nothing. Zero. And I don't take very seriously the media or the press in this country, who in the case of the Persian Gulf War were nothing more than unpaid employees of the Department of Defense, and who most of the time function as kind of an unofficial public relations agency for the United States government.
Hey everybody, CJ here with another big bazooka blast of historical red pills to fire off into the darkest depths of the interwebs. This is going to be episode 86 of the Dangerous History Podcast, another installation of DHP heroes and usual caveats of I don't mean heroes in the way of hero-worshipping people and trying to copy them in every way or anything like that, but more people that I admire for one reason or another. And I do DHP heroes and DHP villains, and I've tried so far, and I want to continue to keep trying to not